team has yet to win a game in this series, but the Wildcats hope to change all that today. Right, guys?
Revenge is always painful. That sound you hear, KSU fans, is the sound of Marshall's thundering herd, looking to avenge a loss that has haunted them since last September. Marshall will witness a new era in Wildcat football, an era that has the hometown fans pumped with a spirit and energy similar to that of a full-blown rock tour. Today, Marshall travels west to Manhattan, Kansas, where the Purple Pack Attack will be maxed out. The Thundering Herd and the Wildcats. College football about to explode next.
Welcome to the Little Apple of Manhattan, Kansas, the home of Kansas State University. We're at Bill Snyder Family Stadium for the KSU Wildcats to face the Thundering Herd of Marshall in our Dr. Pepper Big 12 football game of the week. The Herd at 1-1, the Cats come in at 2-0. Welcome, everyone. I'm Bill Land along with Gary Reasons. Should be fun on a hot, windy day here in Manhattan. And Gary, both these clubs saying this is kind of a measuring stick game. And when you realize what's ahead, they both have top 25 opponents next week, you realize the importance of this one.
It's very important to get started here in this ballgame, the third game of the season for both football teams. You take a look at Marshall. Mark Schneider, the second-year head coach, really wants to get things going well. Coming in at 1-1, this is a pivotal game for them. And I think for Kansas State, they need to keep building with their new head coach, Ron Prince. They're 2-0. Didn't have great talent playing against them in the first couple of weeks. I think this is a real measuring opportunity for them.
Yeah, Marshall will be a big challenge for Kansas State because you look at that Thundering Herd offense, talk about a two-man attack. Well, it all starts with a quarterback, Bernard Morris.
Well, Bernard Morris, hey, he's a junior, he's a capable quarterback, and he's a dual threat type of a quarterback. Last week against Hofstra, he threw for 150 yards, but also ran for 150 yards. If he can have that kind of production, it's going to be a good year for the Thundering Herd. Also in the backfield is Ahmad Bradshaw, one of the best running backs in Conference USA, a potential all-conference performer. Last week, 150 yards rushing. He's done a great job with this football team, and he's a capable receiver too, Bill. He led the team last year in receptions with 50 receiving receptions, so he does a good job out of the backfield catching the ball.
He was actually recruited by K-State coach Ron Prince when Prince was at Virginia. First year for the Wildcat boss, new offense with their West Coast look. He likes his trigger man, though, in Dylan Myers.
Dylan Myers, a senior, he's going to get the nod to play this year. Actually, they thought they had good depth at the quarterback position. 3 quarterbacks left the program, so Dylan Myers fits in real well, I think, with the West Coast style of offense. It uses his arm strength, and what he does, he spreads it around to the receivers, and they've got some good ones with Jordy Nelson, Yamon Figures on the outside, and the tight end, the new weapon here at K-State, Rashad Norwood, leads the Wildcats in offense and receiving with 8 catches on the year.
You know, they've only played twice in their history, but it's a pretty good rivalry because the road team has been the winner. Who will win the rubber match? We'll have more on that rivalry when we come back on our Dr. Pepper Big 12 Game of the Week.
Welcome back to the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Game of the Week. Emily Jones in Manhattan, Kansas, getting you set for Marshall and Kansas State. It's turned into an unlikely rivalry, but a rivalry nonetheless. And a big reason for that is because the 2 games these teams have played, the only 2 games these teams have played, have both come down to the wire. We take you back to 2003 right here in Manhattan. Kansas State ranked number 6 in the country. The Wildcats down a touchdown. Jeff Schwinn's potential game-tying pass falls incomplete in the end zone as time expires, and Marshall snaps the Wildcats' 41-game home non-conference regular season winning streak. It was the Thundering Herd's first and only win in program history over a top 10 team. But last season, the Wildcats got revenge in Huntington, West Virginia. Jimmy Skinner picked off by Justin McKinney at the KSU 12-yard line with 3 seconds to play, and the Wildcats hold on for a 21-19 victory. So the rubber match comes today here in Manhattan. This is just a 3-year contract between these 2 schools, but there is already talk of extending this series and extending this rivalry. We've got the kickoff between Marshall and Kansas State coming up from Bill Snyder Family Stadium in Manhattan, Kansas when we return here on FSN.
Welcome back to Bill Snyder Family Stadium, named after the K-State legend who stepped down at the end of last season. And the Wildcats move on. They are 2-0 as they entertain the Thundering Herd of Marshall today. They come in out of Huntington, West Virginia from Conference USA at 1-1. And our weather today, 83, expected to get as high as 87. And that win is huge. You see the check gusting up to 40. It will be a factor, my friend.
It really will. And actually the coin toss here really went the way of Marshall. They deferred to the second half, which would think Kansas State take the football, but no. Kansas State electing to kick off because the win is such a huge factor here.
Mark Snyder, second year at head coach at Marshall, 4-7 a year ago, 1-1 here. An outstanding player as a Thundering Herd member. And Ron Prince, who did not play at K-State, grew up in nearby Junction City, said he underwhelmed Bill Snyder with his talent. Yeah. But he has worked his way quickly up through the ranks and comes, as far as he is concerned, home to K-State. He's got him 2-0. And the kickoff as Snodgrass boots it off for the Wildcats. And it is taken at the 45-yard line, and Kansas State's got the football.
Well, it's an onside kick attempt here by Kansas State. The ball did not travel the necessary 10 yards, so this is probably an illegal touching by Kansas State. Going to be Marshall's ball inside now, the 45-yard line of Kansas State. Yeah, they're calling the kicking team offsides here on the onside kick. Ron Prince trying to do something a little tricky here to start this ball game, trying the onside kick opportunity, and it's going to negate the whole play, and they're going to kick it again. But with the win at their back, probably not a big deal here going on, but luckily for them that Marshall did not pick up that football.
So let's see if they try the same thing. Meanwhile, Marshall will have Chubb and Spann deep around the 10-yard line now, as Snodgrass again gets ready to boot it off, measured at the 30-yard line this time. Well, special teams have been huge for Kansas State. They were trying to make an impact on the opening kick.
Yeah, they've done a good job returning kicks so far this year. Punt return for a touchdown, kickoff return for a touchdown, and they picked up a fumble for a touchdown score. So overall, the kicking game has been good for Kansas State. Actually, the kicking and punting, though, has been a little bit lacking. Ron Prince wants to clean that up a little bit here.
Big 12 officials with John Bible, the referee, getting things straight here on this reset of the kickoff.
Yeah, it's a dead ball foul, offsides on the kicking team, so Marshall does not have a chance to even elect to take this play here inside the 45-yard line. So that's why they're re-kicking it, and looks like they've got it squared away.
All right, they're all on the same page now, and Jared Parker kicking it off here for the Wildcats.
Plenty of leg.
Yeah. Plenty of leg, wind a factor as well. And despite the penalty, they boot it out of the end zone, and it'll be Marshall getting their hands on the football as the Thundering Herd coming in off a 54-31 win over Hofstra after losing their opener to Powerhouse West Virginia 42-10. And Liberty Mutual provides us with our starters here, and Bernard Morris leads the way, the quarterback, 6'4", 220, a junior out of Orlando, Florida. Last year was knocked out of the game against Kansas State, but he completed 7 of 12 for 73 yards before leaving.
Yeah, an impressive game last week against Hofstra, both running the ball and throwing the football in this offense.
Play action, and it is complete, and stopped, and a loose football. K-State's got it. Let's see if they blew it dead.
Now I think the near line judge is rolling the tight end down here on the waggle pass and picks up 4 or 5 yards here on the reception from Morris. So no fumble here for Kansas State to take one early in this ball game.
Will Albin, the
well, obviously the K-State fans not liking this. We'll take a look at it here. The ball caught by Albin. Is the ball loose before he comes down? No, the ball does hit the ground right there. Good call by the officials seen on the sideline.
So a couple of officiating moments here in the early going. 2nd and 6, and this one stopped at the 26-yard line as Kyle Williams makes the tackle on the play. Liberty Mutual providing our starting lineup here for Kansas State. Bernard Morris. He's thrown 65% completion rate, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception so far. You see the dual threat that Gary referred to last week in the win over Hofstra.
And decision making is key in this offense for him, and 64-65% is probably a pretty good number for them. Conversing with Kansas State, and we'll talk about them, they have not done a great job with their passing efficiency.
3rd down and 4 for the Thundering Herd. Crowd roaring. Morris. Complete and a 1st down at the 31-yard line. McKinney making the tackle on Spann. Let's take a look at the rest of our starters provided by Liberty Mutual, as the offense for Marshall coming in averaging 32 points a game. Legursky is the big fella up front at center, a 2nd-team all-conference pick in Conference USA last year. And the backs and receivers, as you take a look at Bradshaw, Fitzgerald, Spann, who just made that last reception as their leader with now 13 on the season. 1st and 10 at the 31 for the Herd. Check at the line of scrimmage by Morris. They come after him. He unloads and completes at the 39-yard line. And he is tackled by Kyle Williams. Schoep is the receiver, junior out of Portage, Pennsylvania. Now let's flip to the Kansas State defensive group, as the Wildcats have allowed just 11.5 per game. A shutout last week. Campbell, Klein, Seiler, a one-time wrestler in Oklahoma State up front. Walker, Dials, Archer is certainly the leader there, a 2nd-team all-conference pick. And watch McKinney. He had 2 interceptions against Marshall last year in the game in Huntington. Whistle stop play here. Flags thrown on a 2nd and 2.
Well, this K-State defense done a good job against the run. They've done a good job against the run early in this season. Just 59 yards allowed in 2 ball games. Last week against Florida Atlantic, they only allowed 5 yards rushing. You see the new defensive coordinator here, Raheem Morris, calling the signals down there for his defense. Trying to be a little more athletic out there, brings a different kind of an attitude here coming from the NFL to this team.
Been assistant with Tampa Bay. A little bit unusual. Sometimes the defensive coordinator is up in the box, sometimes on the sideline, but they have great communication with their players, is one of the things that players have commented on. 2nd and 7 and complete. And it's taken shy of the 1st down at the 40-yard line. Cody Slate, the receiver. Seiler makes the tackle. Let's take a look now at the Marshall keys as far as winning this football game here today.
I think it's important to come in here to Manhattan and get a quick start for them offensively, defensively, and I think on defense they have to have relentless pursuit. Go to the football. Mark Snyder is a defensive-minded coach, needs that to happen, and special teams going to be key. The win is going to be a factor in this ball game. K-State has done a great job returning kicks so far this year.
Keys brought to you by American Century. It is 3rd down and 1 now. And the handoff to Bradshaw. They're waiting for him, and he is denied as Dials and Williams make the tackle.
Well, you talk about rush defense, and you want to be able to do that on 3rd and short here, trying to run for a 1st down, and Marshall's now going to have to punt the football. That's a mark of a good defense. They've had great defenses here at Kansas State over the years. The last couple of years have really slipped a little bit, but they're trying to get back to that type of defensive system and excellence they've had, and so far so good in this ball game.
All right, Figures the lone deep man. And Ian Connor, a senior out of Knoxville, Tennessee, to punt it. It is blocked. It is recovered. Wildcat football at the 28-yard line.
Yeah, I think it was blocked by Antoine Moore. Came right up the middle. Antoine did a nice job going right to the punter's foot. Kind of a breakdown there by Marshall up front. Block protection. Watch number 43 come right to the right side of the personal protector and goes right to the football. Huge play here early in the ball game. Sets up great field position now for Kansas State to come on the field.
And Kansas State will take over 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line. Quarterback Meyer got time, got a man. It is complete inside the 5 to Jordy Nelson. And the Wildcats knocking on the door.
Well, he was shut out in the ballgame last week against Florida Atlantic. Did not catch a football, but Jordan Nelson, one of the best receivers that they have on the outside, is going to come up and work inside. It's going to be a good fit here by Dylan Meyer inside. Good shoulder throw. It's great execution. The offensive line gave him enough protection that time to throw that football.
And first and goal to go from the 3. 25 yards on the pickup. Meyer, the quarterback. Lone back is Clayton. He gets it right up the middle. Bounces off one. He scores! So the Herd gets hit with some K-State thunder.
Well, surprise here. The K-State actually had to kick off in his ball game because of the coin toss, but the special teams play did a great job there setting up field position, and Clayton answered there after a short drive here by Kansas State for the touchdown.
Snodgrass on. He's 7 of 7 in extra point attempts this year. Senior out of Leawood, Kansas, and booms it straight through. So the Wildcats take advantage of the block punt. Couple plays later, Clayton into the end zone, 7-0 K-State on your Dr. Pepper Big 12 Game of the Week. Welcome back to Manhattan, where it is buzzing. The Wildcats with a 7-0 lead over the Marshall Thundering Herd. Bill Land, Gary Reasons, Emily Jones, and the FSN crew with you as the Wildcats will kick it off once again. Jared Parker, sophomore from Ankeny, Iowa. And again, it is Small and Spann that are at the goal line for Marshall. Line drives it. No return here. So the Wildcats will set things up. Let's check into the moment with John Rodigan, our Dr. Pepper game break.
Bill Land, thank you very much. Last night, of course, as you know, there was another game involving a Kansas team. We're in double overtime now when Jalen Parmalee takes it 25 yards for Toledo. 4 missed tackles on the play, and the Rockets win it, Bill, 37-31.
Thank you, John. Marshall back here, 1st and 10 from the 20 now, after K-State stunned them in the opening minutes of play. 9:18 to go, first quarter. Bradshaw, gang tackled at the 20. Campbell leading the way, as well as Quentin Eccles. Well, the Wildcats special teams have been a story in the first 2 games. Florida Atlantic, they took over. McKinney, Justin, a junior out of Sanford, Florida, takes it all the way back.
And here's a punt return by Figures on the outside. He just makes it all the way to the house. When you have special teams plays like this, they are game-changing plays, and it's the same thing that happened today on the block punt.
And defensively, they popped it loose as well. That was against Illinois State. They escaped an upset attempt by the Redbirds winning 24-23. Back to the live action here. Archer and Dials make the tackle at the 25-yard line. And that's how special the Wildcats have been in an area of the game that sometimes doesn't get talked enough about.
It really is. It's that third phase of the ball game that really is one of the most important things you have to deal with, and it's hard to prepare sometimes for football teams. You focus so much on the offensive and defensive side, but really the big plays often occur in the kicking game.
3rd and 5 at the 25 for Marshall now. Bernard Morris, the quarterback, changing the play. Stands at a 17, now scrambles. He's got some wheels and scampers out of bounds. Got the first down, though, just across the 30-yard line. Chasing him was Zach Dials, and Morris does give you that look, doesn't he?
Well, he does, and that's one of the things that you look for your quarterback to do back there, and that's make good decisions. And that time, stepping out of the pocket, he's going to have pressure from the right side here. It's going to make him move to his left. Then all of a sudden, it breaks down. He gets around the linebacker Dials there and gets to the outside, enough speed to get the first down. And that's what you like to have in a dual-threat quarterback, the ability to make a good decision, to not throw the ball, then get out of the pocket and get you some yardage.
Morris averaging 8.5 per carry, 188 total coming in. 1st and 10 at the 32 for the Thundering Herd. On the rollout, Morris showing a little option, keeps the football, and picks up a couple. Now let's take a look at our American Century keys to the game for Marshall. The Wildcats, I beg your pardon.
Well, I think up front, I think it's going to be the line play and aggressive blocking. Ron Prince, an offensive line coach, an offensive-minded guy trying to get things going there. They've got to get better, I think, up there. Defensively, I think they need to load the box. They need to slow down the running game here with Ahmad Bradshaw and Bernard Morris. And obviously, I think the magic really in this ball game is they've got to match what K-State is doing and go beyond. They've got to win that phase of the game if they possibly can.
Well, and you didn't just have them type that in just now either.
Oh, it's just magic. It happens for them.
That's right. It wasn't magic. Flag thrown here. It'll be a false start, as you hear, on Marshall. They'll push him back a little bit.
Our guys are fast in the truck. They work fast.
They are quick. Especially that breakfast call this morning around 8 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. Well, we didn't have any trouble lining up for that. That's for sure.
We were on time for a change. Free food, we're here. Well, the Thundering Herd, that is certainly a problem that Mark Snyder would like to see addressed, because his football team, we'll talk about a challenge next week. They travel to Knoxville, meet Tennessee, and you're going to beat folks like that or win here. You cannot continue to shoot yourself in the foot. 2nd and 14, the ball at the 28. Good protection. And a completion. And a flag is thrown with the ball being stopped at the 28-yard line. Garvin leading the way.
Yeah, might be an incidental face mask there on the tackle. Got an ineligible receiver downfield.
Oh.
I didn't see that coming out for the play, but I think the formation lined up was probably what it was. He probably had somebody covered on the inside, the receiver, not one of the wide receivers on the line of scrimmage, and so the inside receiver is probably covered. He was ineligible.
Well, you saw the reaction from Coach Snyder. This is a guy who knows all about winning. Won a national title as an assistant at Ohio State in 02 and won 3 national championships, one assistant at Youngstown State.
Well, it's one of those little things that you have to do as an offensive player. That is, know if I'm supposed to be on the line of scrimmage or not on the line of scrimmage, and it really plays key into that offense, and everyone has to know what they're supposed to do out there. And you got a 3-receiver set this time, and sometimes they'll go 4 wides, multiple offensive formations here by Marshall.
Yeah, K-State declined. They'll go for the 3rd and 14. Hope they hold them and get it back. Morris thrust out of the pocket, got loose, and completes it at the 50-yard line for a first down as the Thundering Herd advances it, and Marcus Fitzgerald makes the reception. Brother of Larry Fitzgerald, the great that, of course, in the NFL with the Cardinals. And Marcus, a junior out of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Well, it looks like Bernard Morris is going to be sacked here. Watch what happens to him in the pocket. You're going to have contact with him, and then Fitzgerald just comes to the middle of the field, and good eyes there by the quarterback, finding him in the middle of the field and stepping up into the pocket and eluding that rush.
Huge play by Marshall. They get it out of their own end, 23 yards in the pickup, and they're officially at the 49 of Kansas State for 1st and 10. Morris keeps the football. He picks up about 5 or 6 as Brian Baldwin comes up from the corner. Junior out of St. Louis to make the stop.
One of the things that's good about Marshall's offense is their offensive line. It starts in the center position. Doug Legursky, he's a guy, he's a big fella. He's a leader up there, a junior. This young man can do it all for him, and they've got a good left side with Ziegler and Seth Cook on the left side. When you get those 3 together, they feel like they've got good protection for their quarterback and a good run game as well. So the offensive line for Marshall is pretty good on the left side and just a little young on the right side, but they're getting there.
2nd down and 4, ball at the 43. Play action. Nobody bit, and no time for Morris as that one is incomplete. Campbell all over him on the rush.
Well, you're trying to set up a screen here, trying to get it to your tailback, Ahmad Bradshaw, and the pressure just gets there too quick. You got to hold your blocks a little bit longer. Bradshaw needs to bump him a little bit longer before he gets to the quarterback, and Bernard Morris luckily to be able to turn around and throw that ball at least at the feet of his tailback. Good job by Ian Campbell. He's a speedy defensive end, gets back there, 240-pounder, actually a little less than that, I believe, but allows him to run real well.
They split Bradshaw out with an empty backfield now. Bradshaw to the top of your screen as Bernard Morris now steps back in the shotgun. 3rd and 4, and incomplete, and a flag is thrown, intended for Spann. Baldwin covering.
Well, there was some contact, Bill, on the outside, and it looked to me like it was little contact there with both of their hands knocking on each other. So we'll take a look at it here to see if we can see the penalty. But look right down here, folks, and we're going to see the contact right there around the 40-yard line. Yeah, definitely contact past that 5-yard zone, and good call by the officials.
Ron Prince talks it over. Coming in here from University of Virginia, their offensive coordinator under Al Groh the last 3 years, and been on their staff for 5 years. Also coached at Cornell, James Madison, South Carolina State, Alabama State. Got his start at Dodge City, where he played at that junior college before moving on. Morris in trouble and slips at the 39-yard line. Zach Dials had him covered. Dials coming in with 11 tackles, gets his third for a loss.
Well, Zach Dials is a pretty active linebacker, and he, along with Brandon Archer back there, do a good job for the Wildcats in a middle spot.
Loss of 6. First Down Line is brought to you by Overstock.com, your online source for savings on everything from video games to big screen TVs. Brings up a 2nd and 16 for Marshall. Moore goes wide left. Hiram Moore. Span comes to the wide side on the right. And here is Morris. In trouble. Knocked as he throws it. Picked off by Garvin. To the 40. The 50. And run out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Kansas State possession.
Bill, one of the things I was about to say is Kansas State, they actually come into this ball game leading the nation in tackles for loss, and that also includes quarterback sacks. You put pressure on the quarterback and you get back there and you can hit him like this. Good job of Seiler coming around on the outside on the little twist. Hits the quarterback as he throws the football and not able to deliver it to his tight end outside. And good job by Garvin picking it off and taking it down the field.
Garvin out of Miramar, Florida, Pace High School, gets his first interception of the season. And K-State, they had a block punt that led to their first score. Now they get the interception and take over at the 44-yard line after a 20-yard return on the INT. Meyer going deep. Figures the man intended for it, and incomplete. Well covered that time.
Yeah, J.J. Johnson in coverage there, doing a good job not allowing Figures to make that play.
Take a look now. Liberty Mutual with the offense for Kansas State. Dylan Meyer, the senior out of Pittsburgh, Kansas. And yeah, you folks caught rival KU last night. He's the brother of Kerry, the older brother. And missed last year because of injury. Improved a lot from game 1 to game 2, according to Coach Prince. Flag thrown as the handoff is to Clayton, who scored the first touchdown.
And a senior quarterback knows how to get that hard count working early in this game, and I think he got the herd that time.
Josh Johnson and Couch making the tackle. Let's see how they sort it out. Meanwhile, take a look at the rest of our starting lineup for this Kansas State bunch. Up front is Friesen, Wofford, Bedora, and Spexarth. Wofford, a veteran, preseason award candidate.
That was Nick Stringer on the right side, number 64.
And Clayton, as well as Nelson, Figures, Norwood, and Mastrud, the receivers. Norwood, who caught 13 balls last year for the season, has 8 receptions coming in this year after 2 games, and that's that West Coast offense and the involvement of the tight end.
Yeah, Ron Prince says, hey, the tight end is always open in this offense, even if he's got man coverage on, because he can work away from him. He got a lot of field to work with. 2nd down and 5, and Clayton takes the handoff. Helmets go flying. He is stopped at the 38-yard line by Shavar Greer. And as Clayton retrieves his hat, let's take a look at the Marshall defensive front. As Greer, one of those guys up front, and El Amin gets the start in place of Juan Underwood, a veteran who was out with a sprained ankle. And the linebacking core, Hoskins, Johnson is a stud who originally was going to Georgia. Couch flanks him, and then Johnson, Rodimer, as well as Keys and Matthews. Keys, a senior who had 14 tackles against K-State last year. This one thrown out of bounds, incomplete. Well, K-State here, good field position, nothing happening though with it after the interception by Garvin. Good job by the Thundering Herd, going to bring up a 4th and long here. I don't know if they're going to try a long field goal or probably just punt this ball away, but they do have the wind at their backs. Looks like they're bringing the punter on.
That'll be Tim Rayer, the junior of Wamego, Kansas, 5'11", 208-pounder. Average 37.6 per kick. And the goal here is to try to pin it inside the 20, not just boot it over the end zone complex with that wind. So he tries to pooch kick it, but shanks it. And he's wishing he had just put it over the complex. Marshall will get the football back near the 25. They trail 7-0. The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Game of the Week on FSN is presented by Dr. Pepper. 23 flavors that add up to one bold taste. Dr. Pepper, there's more to it. By esurance.com, instant online car insurance. By Liberty Mutual, responsibility. What's your policy? And by Sonic, it's not just good, it's Sonic good. Marshall, first and 10 from its own 25. The Herd trailing the Wildcats 7-0 here at KSU, Bill Snyder Family Stadium. They're showing blitz. Morris back, got the ball knocked loose, recovered by Marshall though. Coming through was Marcus Watts. Watts was huge in last year's game at Marshall, and he makes quite a play there for the honorable mention all-conference pick in the Big 12 last year.
Yeah, he's on the top here. He's going to come to the outside and get in there. And he's had a little history with Morris before. Last year he knocked him out of the ball game. Hit him so hard to knock him out, couldn't return in that football game, and luckily for Marshall, one of the big offensive linemen picks up that ball on the strip.
David Ziegler comes up with a recovery. Boy, that could have been a disaster for the Thundering Herd.
Well, that's the pressure that you're going to get from K-State here, and Raheem Morris trying to pull a little pressure on that quarterback and not making him comfortable back there.
Second down and 18 now. And the handoff, the scat back goes inside and rolls. Bradshaw, beg your pardon, as he goes to the 34-yard line, and Archer makes the tackle, picks up 17 yards.
Hey, he's a quality back. He's a guy who doesn't need a whole lot of hole here. Good block there by the guard, locking up on the linebacker, and I think it was Dials, and couldn't get around him. Brandon Archer coming over him with a weak side spot, making the play.
Bradshaw averaging 6.3 per carry. A timeout is called in the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Game of the Week.
Are you ready? Value, respected, tradition. We are K-State. Our nationally ranked academic programs and approachable faculty will take you beyond the classroom. Study abroad, leadership, cutting-edge research, a vibrant campus life. Be part of the K-State family. Are you ready?
K-State. Here's a little piece of heaven tailgating with Johnsonville Brats.
They're working it pretty good out there.
Everybody's proud of their tailgating, and I'm not going to make enemies by ranking schools that we've been to, but K-State is a top 10, let's put it that way, nationally. They know how to get after it. They come early. They eat, drink hard, play hard. It's a fun place, I'll tell you. Third down and 2. Marshall with the football. They've maintained possession the majority of this quarter, but they have made progress, and here's another fumble. Bradshaw coughed it up. K-State ball inside the 40-yard line. Williams recovers the fumble, and the Wildcats get another break.
You know,
I think create a break, I should say.
And I think they're playing with intensity and enthusiasm. That's what you want to do, and I think it kind of comes off with their defensive coordinator, Raheem Morris. Good job of making contact there, and the ball is definitely out. One of the defensive linemen knocked it out there. I think it was Ian Campbell coming out and stripping the football. And Raheem Morris, he's got these guys playing well and playing with heart, enthusiasm. They love him as a defensive coordinator. He's a young guy, just new from the NFL, was the defensive back coach for the Packers, and he's got his defense playing well right now.
Yeah, it's a very young staff that Ron Prince has got, but these guys have some professional taste to their backgrounds. The players say they've loved the change as far as the communication aspect here, and it seems to be working because this team improved drastically from week 1 to week 2, and they're off to a great start here in creating big plays. Rodimer made the stop on that one, but it's going to be a 1st and 10. Let's see.
Now just short of it, Bill.
Yeah,
It's going to be second down.
Okay, so it'll be 2nd and 1.
Another opportunity here for K-State with great field position off another turnover, so let's see if they can do something here again offensively.
2nd and less than a yard. Clayton alone back behind the quarterback, Dylan Meyer. Looking to throw it. Incomplete, intended for Mestrud.
Yeah, I think that ball kind of took off on Dylan Myers. Got the wind at his back and had his tight end up the seam, and he could have thrown it to his inside shoulder, but that ball just took off. He threw a heater. You see the two tight end offense here that Kansas State is running, kind of similar to what Al Groh used to do with Virginia. Ron Prince, the offensive coordinator there. You got a two tight end package. You got a lot of work with the tight ends in this ball game, and no doubt there you see James Franklin, the offensive coordinator, on the field there trying to get the plays into the ball game, and they're going to utilize the tight end in this package.
3rd and 1 now. Clayton pulls his way to the 24-yard line. That will move the chains. Thomas Clayton, a senior out of Alexandria, Virginia, brought down by Rodimer. And Clayton, guy who had 89 yards and 5.6 per carry and a touchdown last week.
And Franklin also was with the Packers, a wide receivers coach, and now the offensive coordinator here. Again, a young guy, but I think he's got him going the right way. He understands the West Coast style of offense, which is what they've installed here, and got a good background in it, and just trying to get execution now with his receivers and quarterback and running back.
John McCardle, the lone back now. He recovered the block punt earlier in the game. He gets the handoff here. He coughs up the football, and it's recovered by Marshall. Taken to the 35, the 40, and out of bounds near the 50-yard line. And Johnson comes up with it, and Marshall now gets its first big turnover of the day, and they'll operate in K-State territory.
Well, McCardle just sticks it up in there, and the ball is stripped out. Number 51, I think, is the one that pulled it out to the outside. The linebacker may have pulled that out, and Johnson picks it up here on the outside. Looks like he's got a lane down the field. Good job by big tight end there, getting after him, slowing him down.
James Johnson recovered it, sophomore out of Springdale, Maryland, and coming up to create the fumble was Jason Kaminsky, a senior. And now Marshall will have it 1st and 10 at the 46-yard line after a 35-yard return of that punt, or that fumble return. All right, timeout is called, and we'll be back after this word from Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottlers. Let's take a look at our Esurance leaders as the youngest coaches in Division 1A. Big 12 owns 2 of them. Mike Gundy, Ron Prince, of course, Pat Fitzgerald. The unfortunate situation, Northwestern took over for Randy Walker, who passed away. And Bielma was, of course, here at Kansas State at one time.
A lot of ties here to this conference.
All right, second quarter underway. First play, 1st and 10. And, oh, mama, what a hit in the secondary, delivered by Kyle Williams. Wow.
Well, Bernard Morris tries to fit it in there to his tight end on the flag route. And, you know, if you're a free safety and you roam the middle of the field, guess what? This is what you're supposed to do. Come over the top and make a delivery of a contact play like this. You like to see that if you're a defensive coordinator. You got a guy back there playing with a little heart and a little physicality from the free safety spot.
So Marshall, 2nd down and 10. At their own 46-yard line. Bill Land, Gary Reasons, Emily Jones with you here in Manhattan, where the Wildcats lead at 7-0. And their defense has been stout. Flag is thrown as the play is whistled dead. Garvin and Dials making the stop on the play. On Blake Seiler, the senior out of Goddard, Kansas. So that will hurt the Wildcats.
I didn't see it happen there. It might have been late after the tackle, but Ron Prince pulling him off the field there, just put another defensive lineman in there. That's just kind of the accountability factor here that you try to give the defensive lineman. They've got some talented ones, so it's not a big letdown to get him out of the ball game.
Alfonso Moran takes over. Sophomore from Delray Beach, Florida. 1st and 10 at the 38. Morris faked the handoff, and he is stopped at the 37-yard line. Let's send it back to John Radigan, our Dr. Pepper game break.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. Iowa and Iowa State, a cross-state rivalry. The Cyclones have won 6 of the last 8. Brett Meyer threw for a touchdown and runs for one here. It is now 14-10 in favor of the Big 12 over the Big 10.
Now, talk about huge games. There are big ones nationally. There are big ones involving these two conferences here today. Just a huge day of college football going on around the country. And right here it is K-State with a 7-0 lead. Marshall, though, trying to march one in. 2nd and 8, ball in the 36. And Morris keeps. Tell you what, he's known as a tough customer, and he's proven it. He's taken some pretty good shots already. Moran makes the stop here at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, but what he does, Bill, is he makes a decision to bring the ball down, and he gets positive yardage here. The protection breaks down. His receivers are all covered, so he steps up in the pocket and makes something happen here. Gets it to where it's a 3rd and 2 situation instead of a 3rd and 10 situation. Good job of getting some yardage there. Now, a few different plays you could call here as an offensive coordinator with 3rd and 2.
At the 30, Morris steps back on the 35 for the snap. Quick hitter to Spann. He's got the first down as he steps out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Justin McKinney covering on the play, picks up 9 yards. Let's send it down to Emily Jones.
Well, guys, the offensive line seems to be getting it done on this drive for Marshall. A big part of that O-line is John Inman, the junior. Coach Mark Snyder says he is my kind of guy. It's not very often you've got an offensive lineman that's kind of your emotional leader, but John Inman is definitely it for the Thundering Herd, and they seem to be driving and doing well on this one.
Yeah, he's sharing time this year with Brian Leggett. John Inman, starter last year in 05, and one of the good core linemen that they have for the Herd.
Thanks, Emily. They move the chains. 1st and 10 at the 21. Nothing doing for Chubb Small, the sophomore out of Auburndale, Florida, getting the carry. Small's first rush today. Morris, 4 carries, or the 5 carries, no yards with the sacks that he's had. And Bradshaw, 4 carries for 22 yards. So they've contained those guys in the ground game for the most part.
And take a look at Chubb here. He's a good 1-2 back, I think, back there, along with Ahmad Bradshaw. Those two give them pretty good punch, pretty good power, and a little smaller than a Bradshaw, but got a lot of speed to work with.
Conference USA All-Freshman pick last year, had 839 all-purpose yards, highly recruited out of Florida. Morris flips it to Chubb here. 20, bounces off one at the 15. A flag thrown as he goes out of bounds near the 12-yard line. Zach Dials making the stop.
It was a well-executed play, but probably going to have a hold here against Marshall on the outside. A good job that time by Morris, bringing it down the line of scrimmage, pitching the ball back to Chubb, who does a pretty good job running on the outside with his speed.
Mark Snyder going to see his club with their 4th penalty, it appears.
Yeah, it's a spot foul here. And
time of possession so far, the first quarter was 12:03 for Marshall, 2:57 for Kansas State. But the turnovers and the kicking game, the special teams just thrown this one out of whack, and there's your up-to-date time of possession.
7 on the offense, 10 yards, 2nd down.
And you're going to get Hiram Moore for the hold here on the outside. Mark Snyder not happy about that. The little things in a ball game that you get, the self-destruct, the turnovers that have happened today, and also the penalties. It's hard enough to win on the road overall, and when you come into a place like Kansas State and you make those kind of mistakes, it makes it all the more difficult.
2nd down and 19. Marshall continuing to have problems with the flag. They're never fun to happen, but they have really come at awkward moments for them when they've just about had some momentum going, it seems. Morris, 2 wide outs to the right, 1 to the left. That one is Spann, and Morris flips to Chubb Small. 1-on-1, doesn't get it. Back to the line of scrimmage, and Kyle Williams makes the tackle right at the 30-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down.
You got a defense that's playing pretty good for Kansas State, so Larry Keck, the offensive coordinator for Marshall, has to find some things that work. And Larry up in the booth there, I think he's right there in the center in the picture. So Larry's trying to find some things that they're going to work for him. Trying to bring Chubb Small in there, get a little different different look and go 3 and 4 different wide receiver packages. They've got a full complement of weapons that they can use, including their quarterback, Bernard Morris.
3rd and 19. Morris in trouble. He is hammered and rocked at the 41-yard line. Ian Campbell leads the way for that charged-up Wildcat defense. Also in on the play, Rob Jackson.
And Bernard Morris goes down after this play, slow to get up. You see the contact there. I think they're trying to set up a screen pass. The offensive linemen just did not hold their blocks well enough. Good job by the K-State defense to get back there. Jackson doing a good job getting the sack, but Bernard Morris still down on the field here for Marshall.
There's a look at Jackson, who applied the hit out of Fort Scott Community College. Came from West Haven, Connecticut, and Morris up. Remember, he was knocked out last year, and Jimmy Skinner came on to play. And Morris hopefully will be all right and be able to return.
Yeah, talking to the sports information director before the ball game, Randy Burnside, telling us about how he felt like that Morris put on some weight in the offseason, got stronger, more physical, where he's going to be able to take that pounding. And good news that he gets up off the turf and now going to be able to hopefully come back for the herd.
Originally came to Marshall as an invited walk-on. Yaman figures is deep as the punter Connor tries to hang it high. He does, but puts it out of the end zone. That'll be 1st and 10 on the 20. When we come back on our Dr. Pepper Big 12 Game of the Week, 7-0 Kansas State here in Manhattan. Yes, they do love their Cats here in Manhattan. They're up 7-0 as Marshall and the Thundering Herd. It's been quite a series between these two, even though they've just played 2 games. And Bradshaw and crew have been very effective. This was last year at Marshall, and K-State applied the big hit.
And the quarterback out.
The interception by McKinney helped seal it as Kansas State won in Huntington. And that made a little revenge for after Marshall had won here in 03, and that stopped a 41-game non-conference winning streak here.
And you see the pressure put on by the K-State defense, getting back to Bernard Morris. Not only has he been sacked a couple of times, but he has been hit, but still showing the feet and the athletic ability that he has. K-State now takes over on offense. First down, had a short gain there, bringing up 2nd and 7.
Clayton, fake to him. Meyer rolls out, got all day. Incomplete. Trying to go to Mastrud, and Rodimer was covering on the play.
Well, you've got your 2 tight end system in this offense, and this is just a bad decision by the quarterback. Meyer coming around the court on the outside. You're going to see the tight end work to the outside here and then one work this way, and you just watch my lines. They're going to come into the picture, folks, and throw it right here, but he throws to the covered guy back here, and unfortunately, bad decision, and ball was knocked away.
3rd down and 7. Ball on the 23. 10:03 to go 2nd quarter. Wildcats lead at 7-0 over Marshall. They come after Meyer. He completes it to Clayton. Clayton tackled at the 26-yard line.
Well, Thomas Clayton does a good job catching the ball in traffic, but one of the important things that you do as a running back is you've got to protect that football. He's going to catch his football, and watch what happens when he does, when he sees he's going to get in contact. Both arms go around that football. I think that's a nice play by a running back who knows he's probably not going to get the first down, but protects that ball.
Johnson and McClellan there for Marshall. Clayton, who scored the only touchdown today and scored a pair of touchdowns in the game at Marshall last year. 4th down and 4. Rayer on to punt. It's blocked and recovered by Marshall, and taking it into the end zone. Touchdown, Marshall.
Yeah, Philip Gamble comes in and gets the block for the Herd. Kind of answering what K-State did early in this ball game. And take a look here on the right side of your screen. Going to break through inside. Definitely gets that football. Philip Gamble, number 29, and then good job of picking it up and scoring here on the punt block.
Gamble comes through with the block, and now Marshall. Johnson with the touchdown after Gamble with the block, and Marshall all of a sudden's on the board and a chance to tie this one up. Binswanger booms it through, Anthony Binswanger makes it good on the point after attempt. And how big are special teams today? It's 7-7 here in Manhattan. The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Game of the Week on FSN is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. By Dr. Pepper, 23 flavors that add up to one bold taste. Dr. Pepper, there's more to it. By Jack in the Box, experience Jack's new Outlaw Burger and Outlaw Spicy Chicken Sandwich. By your local Suzuki motorcycle and ATV dealers. And by Overstock.com. Search, shop, and save up to 70% at Overstock.com.
Special teams magic, what do you think?
I think you hit it on the head there. Wow.
Well, this win, I think both teams are really looking at it. It's coming from the southwest, from our right to left as you watch this ball game, and it is a huge factor in this game. And I was telling these guys, it looks like the game is being played between the 50-yard line and the 30-yard line to our left. So kind of a strange situation here. Nobody's really been on the right side or the south end of the field.
Yeah, both scores have been set up by block kicks. Well, one taken in on the block, the other set up K-State's touchdown. And Connor kicks this one off. K-State will let it go as it sails out of the end zone. And we will take a brief break on FSN and Dr. Pepper Big 12 football. 7-7, the Thundering Herd in Kansas State.
Welcome back. It's Dr. Pepper Game Break. It's Troy Smith and it's Ted Ginn Jr. Texas fans remember this combo from last week. That makes it 13-7. Ohio State had to come back from a deficit against Cincinnati. And now back to Bill Land and Gary Reasons.
All right, thank you, John. Welcome back to Manhattan. We're at 7-7. Wildcats of Kansas State with the football. 1st and 10 from the KSU 20. Meyer flips it across the middle. Got the tight end, and it is complete to the 26-yard line. Mastrud with the reception out of Beaverton, Oregon.
Yeah, good job by Meyer getting rid of the football that time. He had pressure inside, coming right up the middle on him, and that's tough on quarterback, but does a good job finding the tight end.
Lyle Amin makes the tackle, junior out of Lexington, Kentucky for Marshall. And it's 2nd down and 4 for Kansas State at the 26. Clayton sheds one and tries to dive forward, and I think he does have the first down as he placed the ball over the 30. It's C.J. Spillman making the stop in the secondary along with James Johnson.
Take a look on the outside here, try to get that first down, just bend to the outside, Clayton does, and just scratching there trying to make something happen, and he's reaching out over that 30-yard line to get that first down. Should be no problem.
Clayton 6 carries for 26 yards in a score. Meyer is 3 of 7 in the air for 34 yards. He's got a 1st and 10 here at the 30. Clayton hit at that line and no gain. John Jacobs, redshirt freshman, makes the tackle from the end position. He's 6'3", 245 out of Harrisonburg, Virginia.
Bill, when we talked to Ron Prince, he made an interesting comment that I really think is applicable to this ball game. He said, you know, playing football teams in Division 1A, he says, you know, there are a couple of football teams that are not in BCS conferences, and he talked about Marshall and he talked about Fresno State. Not actually BCS school conferences that actually get automatic bids. So he said, but they're built to play with our teams, and that what is with speed and with size. And you can see the Thundering Herd here. They've got a lot of speed on defense and on offense, and that's where they're trying to build that team. Mark Schneider knows that formula for success, being from Ohio State, as a defensive coordinator there, trying to get speed on the football field.
Well, and those programs, as you mentioned, they're not just willing to go compete against those BCS schools, they go expecting to win. And Coach Snyder will tell you his club is in the rebuilding process right now after 4-7 a year ago, but he likes the way things are going, and he has seen, having been a player there in the old days and the way things have gone, what it takes. And it won't be long before Marshall will be back in contention. Now in the Conference USA in their 2nd year. Figures couldn't quite leap high enough to grab this one. Javar Greer, the nearest man covering.
And Dylan Meyer throwing into the wind there. It's kind of a tough ball. It sailed on him there. Yamon Figures not able to get up and pull that ball down. Good job of protection that time. A little different defensive front that Marshall threw at him that time with the pressure from the backside. And nonetheless, it's going to be a punting situation here.
Greer was pressuring that time. Beg your pardon on that. Is Rayer. You see what he's done where he had that shank punt and one block. And this one is a fair catch by Spann at the 31-yard line, and that's where Marshall will operate. We'll be back after this word from Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottlers. Back at Bill Snyder Family Stadium in Manhattan, Kansas, it's the Wildcats and the Marshall Thundering Herd. All even at 7 apiece with 6:41 to go in this first half of play. Well, one of the guys they're really excited about, Ron Prince, is loving his sophomore Ian Campbell, an ex-walk-on who's become a stud.
Yeah, he earned a scholarship at the end of the spring. Not a big guy, 6'5" and 230. Good speed out there. 5 tackles for loss last week. He actually leads the nation in 3 sacks and actually got another one today, so 4 sacks on the season. But he's a bright spot for this defense and Big 12 Player of the Week in week 1 in this conference.
First and 10 at the 31 for Marshall. Chubb Small breaks 1 tackle, but good pursuit to the football by Kansas State. And Marcus Watts finishes him off with a tackle.
And that's how you build defense, is you bring in young players and get them to be athletic and use their athleticism to play. And Ian Campbell is one of those guys that I think that Ron Prince is trying to build around. He knows he's got a bright future. On the other side, Rob Jackson, number 95. He's a defensive end that's pretty capable as well. He's a dual threat kind of a guy because he holds up well against the run and also can rush that passer. So both defensive ends here, they feel like, for Kansas State, pretty capable players in this conference.
And Ron Prince will tell you emphasize a lot of things, but he says he's got to have speed on his defense. And this one is thrown away. Garvin covering on the play. Let's check in with Emily Jones.
Guys, you talked about Ian Campbell. He is one of 8 former walk-ons that have started a game this season. 6 position players and 3 on special teams. So Ron Prince definitely loving what the walk-ons are bringing to his program.
Yeah. And you know, his motto is, we asked him about, are you playing a lot of freshmen, playing all the guys? He goes, our motto is, we'll play them when they're ready to play. You know, and it doesn't matter if they're a freshman or walk on. It doesn't matter what that system is, how they get here. If they can play and they can perform, they're going to put football players on the field.
He's not looking at what class are they. He's looking, are you ready? Then you go in. 3rd and 8. K-State crowd gets after it here. Norris, the quarterback, steps up, throws under pressure. It is picked off by Marcus Watts. He is a Marshall killer. The junior out of Hayes, Kansas, comes up with the pick.
Well, just 4 men rushing the quarterback that time, squeezing the pocket ever so slightly here on the quarterback, and Bernard Morris kind of throws one up there for grabs. Watts does a great job of being in position. You'll see here inside, they're bringing 4 to the left, steps up there and throws it up high, and with Watts, good coverage underneath, goes up and gets that football.
Garvin put the pressure on. Watts comes up with the INT. Nothing new when it comes to playing the team in green.
Well, Marcus Watts made big plays here, big hits, and stripping the ball out here against Marshall, and also last year on the goal line, a huge tackle, not allowing him to get into the end zone, and now he knocks the quarterback out of the football game. So Marcus Watts knows how to play against his herd.
K-State, Clayton, first down, carries it across midfield. Picks up a yard, brought down by El Amin from Marshall.
You know, and points off of turnovers are what coaches look for. How can you be explosive and make sure you get points off of these situations? Kansas State has not really capitalized on those situations today. They've had turnover opportunities with the ball in their hands, but they just haven't been able to capitalize against Marshall.
2nd down and 9. They throw it to the big fella. It's complete out across the 30 or to the 41-yard line, and making the reception is Raymer. Donald Raymer, a senior from Goodland, Kansas, had no playing time in 05, and he's getting into the act here today.
Yeah, playing the U-back, the second, like a fullback or second tight end position here. Raymer goes to the outside and just works out here and gets to the flat. Good job here throwing the ball out to him, and you see a lot of open area there, and the big fella turns it up.
Matthews wrapped him up, and the secondary for Marshall. 3rd down and 2 at the 42. Raymer goes in motion to the side. Clayton spins. Hard-earned first down by Clayton.
Well, I tell you, I like Clayton, what he does with the football when he goes into traffic. He's got both arms firmly around the football, takes the first contact, and has enough presence of mind to spin and get that first down. Good job by the running back. Not a huge play yardage-wise, but a very, very productive one.
Clayton with the only touchdown of the game for K-State today. First Down Line is brought to you by Overstock.com with live customer service and online price guarantee. Shopping online has never been easier. Overstock.com. First and 10 at the 40 of Marshall. Morera in motion for the Cats. Meyer hands it off on the draw. And holding, I believe. We're going to have a flag thrown here. And carrying the football is Petrie.
Yeah, the umpire threw the flag right at the middle of the line of scrimmage there. And I think the left guard, left tackle area is probably going to be where the infraction was.
67 offense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
And the big Greg Wofford, he's hard to miss over there at 6'2", 340 or so pounds. And Ron Prince, a former offensive line coach and offensive coordinator, he knows about playing that offensive line. He's a former offensive lineman himself. Sometimes you just have to hold, but just don't get caught.
That's the key. So now first and 20, ball back at midfield. Meyer complete to Norwood, and Norwood takes it to the 34-yard line of Marshall. Picks up 16. Rodimer and Keys making the stop for the Herd.
This is what makes this offense so special, because you can spread things out, and it's great play decision making here. This ability to move the tight end, hold it right there. You can see everybody deployed. 1, 2, 3, 4 receivers out, and then this is the route that he's going to hit in the middle of the field. Comes open between the linebackers. Good job of waiting for the receiver to go to the open area. Good job of execution there by Dylan Meyer.
2nd and 4. And again, Petrie with the ball. He is stopped short of the first down on the 32, maybe 31.
Yeah, the Marshall players are saying that the ball came out, but there's no fumble, no beanbag thrown on the field by any of the officials, so definitely no fumble.
McClellan there for Marshall.
You know, we're getting down under almost to 2 minutes in this ball game. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in this quarter, in the second quarter. Plenty of time, though, for Kansas State to move the ball down the field here and put points on the board if possible. Just got to get this first down to keep operating.
3rd and 3.
Left tackle.
Flags everywhere, littering the field.
Offense. 5 yards. 3rd down.
Yeah, Michael Priest, and I saw him rock back there. And just something you can't do. That's kind of a self-destruct thing here. You're playing at home, and you've got your quarterback there. You just got to know the snap count. That really hurts you. Brings instead of 3rd and 3, goes back to 3rd and 8. One of those critical little plays that you look back on this ball game and perhaps you might say, what if?
Now 3rd down, 7 to go from the 37.
So, how much harder? 3rd and 7 now. 7-7 ball game. Clock ticking. 1:45 to go. Meyer fakes in the handoff. Comes back, got hammered. Figures comes back to catch the football. And he has the first down. Yamon Figures shows the veteran experience, a senior out of Lakeland, Florida. And comes back to get the ball, picks up 15 yards, and most importantly, the first down.
Bill, if you want to play quarterback, this is what you got to do. Take some licks. Wow, Meyer takes a shot there. Knows he's going to get hit, but throws it out there to his big receiver, Yamon Figures, who kind of dances around, but knows where that first down yardage is and gets it easily for Kansas State. So they're still going here with about a minute 25 to go here in this first half.
1st and 10 at the 25 of Marshall. Cats trying to break the tie. Marshall showing blitz. And Petrie breaks the tackle. 15. He's down near the 10-yard line. Petrie, 1 carry coming in for 32 yards, and he's getting a couple of opportunities here as Maurice Kitchens makes the tackle for Marshall.
You know what a wham block is, Bill? Well, this is a wham block. This is where you take your tight end, wham, right there. Bingo. That's what opens up the hole there for your tailback to run through there. Does a nice job of it, and K-State is knocking on the door.
They break the huddle on a 1st and 10 at the 11. Morera goes wide to the left side. Meyer back to Petrie, and he is stopped as he hits the 10.
Now it's got under a minute here. That looks like the K-State is using the timeout.
K-State will have 1 timeout remaining with 43 seconds to go in this first half. Well, let's take a look at what's coming up on the Sonic Halftime Report. Send it back to the studio with John Radigan, Pat Jones, Jackie Sherrill, and crew. And Iowa State update. That was a dandy in the early going. Texas Tech at TCU, one of 7 top 25s against one another games this weekend. A couple of others, by the way, involving the Big 12. You've got Oklahoma at Oregon. You've also... And let's check in on what's going on with some of that. Here's John Radigan with the Dr. Pepper game break.
All right, Bill Land, thank you. SEC action, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Mitch Mustaine to Felix Jones. Mustaine, 7 of 11 on the passing game so far, and Felix Jones has 4 catches for 50 yards. It's a 21-yard touchdown, 14-13 in a big one at Arkansas.
K-State Housing and Dining.
Thank you, John.
Mesquite Creek.
We'll have a 2nd and 9 here with 43 seconds to go. You know, the other game, Gary, we were talking about was Big 12. We've also got Nebraska taking on Southern Cal.
Yeah,
and a
good
big chance for them.
Huge measuring stick for Nebraska, seeing where they are as a football team. And interesting to see what our coaches, Pat Jones and Jackie Sherrill, think about what's going on here at Kansas State. The new coaching staff hire and how they feel about how things are going. They've got a great perspective of their former careers. Jackie Sherrill obviously coaching this conference. Pat Jones up at Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Used to coach together, so check them out at halftime on the Sonic Halftime Report. Clayton comes back in the game and falls forward down inside the 7-yard line. Tinker makes the tackle for Marshall.
I think they're trying to just stop the clock here, call a play, get it down there.
3rd and 5. They have 1 timeout remaining. Remember, they can get a first down if they get inside the 1. They go for broke, and it's incomplete. Fans wanting a flag intended for Jordy Nelson. Matthews covering. And now Ron Prince will send on the kicking unit. And that'll mean Jeff Snodgrass.
Well, you take a look here on the backside. They're trying to get to Jordy Nelson here. The ball just kind of sails again, a little bit high and outside. No chance for Jordy to get that one.
Attempting a 23-yard.
A 23-yard attempt for Snodgrass, who is 4 of 7 in field goal attempts this year. His longest a 52-yarder. This one is into the wind. 23-yarder. And it is good, and Kansas State gets 3 with 19 seconds to go in this first half.
Yeah, a little disappointed in the kicking game last week, missing 2 of 3, but Snodgrass comes through there and gets the points on the board here for Kansas State, now taking a 10-7 lead with a chance to perhaps hold that lead till halftime. Only 19 seconds left here, but now going to be kicking off into a stiff wind, and opportunity for Marshall to perhaps return this ball and get good field position.
Turnovers. How big have they been today with our score 10-7?
Well, Marshall's turned the ball over 4 times, but only 10 points off of that. You'd like to get at least 3 points per turnover if you're offensive minded for Kansas State. Not getting that. They got 10 points, but all of their points coming today so far off of turnovers. There's old Willie doing a little work out there.
And they have officially now called Snodgrass field goal a 24-yard field goal. So you don't get any more points for the extra yard. But
who was that right there taking a picture? Do we have somebody in the in the shot? Oh, she's gone.
Having fun here in Manhattan, where the Wildcats lead at 10-7. They'll kick off into this stiff breeze, and Parker will kick it off. Spann and Chubb Small are deep for Marshall.
Yeah, Spann's a guy we haven't talked about a lot. He's a guy who's got great ability, great speed. He's a good story, good comeback story, and I'm sure we'll visit on that in the second half. Hasn't had the ball in his hands.
And with this wind, it'll be interesting to see. And now they're going to actually have a little help on holding on the tee there, Gary, to even get this thing set up with the wind gusting here today. Very short one, and it's taken by Spann, and he is wrapped up. Remember, that clock starting as soon as the ball was struck, and Deal made the tackle for Marshall. 10 seconds to go.
And Marshall doesn't even have to come out to run a play if they don't want to with the new rule, because the ball is going to be, this clock is going to start when the referee puts it in the ready signal.
Coaches around the
country. Wind it now, so there's going to be no play here. Marshall's going to go into halftime down 3 points to K-State.
And the Wildcats, who have scored 28 points off turnovers this season, get it done in that category here today in the first half. They have a 10-7 lead over Mark Snyder's Marshall Thundering Herd here at the break. 10-7 Kansas State over Marshall. Snodgrass with the field goal to make the difference. Clayton had a 3-yard run earlier, and Johnson a 17-yard return of a block punt by Gamble that got Marshall on the board. See the Wildcats get the cat pack formed as they head off in unison here at the half. It is all about team for Ron Prince and crew as he makes his way at a chance to visit with Emily Jones as the Wildcats lead it 10-7 here at intermission. And let's send it down to Emily with Coach Prince.
All right, Coach Ron Prince, turnovers have been the story in this game. Your team able to capitalize them, but so is Marshall.
Well, I think we've squandered a lot of opportunities. We got 10 points out of a failed onside kick, a block punt, and great field position. That's not acceptable.
Defensively, your team seems to be hanging well, though. Are you pleased with their performance?
If you don't play good defense, you're going to lose.
Okay, Ron Prince, thanks so much. There you have the story, 10-7 Kansas State on top. Ron Prince not pleased with his team's play thus far. They've got another half to play. We'll give you the second half from Manhattan, Kansas after our Sonic halftime report, and for that we send it to John Radigan.
All right, Emily, thank you very much. A feisty Coach Prince as he heads to the locker room at halftime. I got a couple of feisty coaches with me. These guys are always feisty. We got Jackie Sherrill, we got Pat Jones, we got halftime. It's your Sonic halftime report and a preview of the Southwest games on Separation Saturday coming your way.
The game face. Everyone is different. Some are powerful, some are focused, and some are calm in any situation. Big 12 athletes never lose their game faces. They travel with them throughout their lives. You see them on doctors performing surgery, lawyers presenting arguments, and on scientists making discoveries. The game face is how champions prepare for a challenge, no matter the arena.
Hi there, welcome into the FSN studios. This is your Sonic Halftime Report. I'm John Radigan with Coach Jackie Sherrill and Coach Pat Jones, and we will get you back to Manhattan in just a couple of minutes. Of course, Marshall leading the game 10-7 thanks to the late field goal. And during the halftime report, we will have highlights of some of the early games on Separation Saturday and previews of the later games, but we start by talking about this first half at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. Today, Pat Jones, that stadium resembled what it looked like when the coach was there. It was loud, there was a lot of purple in the crowd, and the team played a tight defensive half.
The Kansas State people, John, are as loyal and as vocal as there is in college football. And they've been through the down times and the good times. They'll get after it. They'll get the stadium going.
What about that first half, Jackie? Anything surprise you?
Well, no. I mean, Kansas State in the first half did what they've been doing all year. They've been taking care of the kicking game, the defense in kicking game. They lead the country. They've scored on punt returns, kickoff returns, and they scored again today by a block punt, and then scoring the 2 plays after it. But they're very well schooled and coached in the kicking game.
You know, we talk about moral victories. Is it a moral defeat at halftime to be only up by 3 when you're a Big 12 school playing a Marshall?
No. Marshall is good. I mean, there's a lot of teams that you just rather go in there and hold your breath and get out of the game and move on down the road. Because playing a team like Marshall, playing Toledo, as we saw last night, it's not easy to win it against those teams.
All right, let's take a look at some of the highlights from early action. Other early games happening around the country and around the Big 12. We start with Cincinnati and Ohio State. Of course, Ohio State fresh off the victory over Texas a week ago, but it's unranked Cincinnati, and it's Dustin Grutza to Jared Martin for a touchdown. 7-3 Bearcats at that point to the second we go, and Troy Smith hooks up with Ted Ginn Jr. You saw this last week if you're a Texas fan. That's a 12-yard touchdown. 13-7 at halftime. Neither team has scored in the third quarter. It remains 13-7 now as they play on in the third quarter. Now to that Iowa State and Iowa game, and this is a battle for bragging rights and more. Brett Meyer hits Todd Blythe for the 9-yard touchdown strike there. Blythe covered pretty well, and that is a 7-0 Iowa State lead. Second quarter, Meyer walks into the end zone. Look at the 9-yard touchdown run, 14-3 in favor of the Cyclones at that point. They've won 6 of the last 8 matchups between these two teams, but here's Drew Tate with the 11-yard screen pass to Andy Brodell. It's a 14-10 halftime lead for Iowa State. Right now, though, it is tied at 17 as those two teams play on in the third quarter. Lots more coming up from our FSN studios. The Sonic Halftime Report continues. Up next, we will preview a couple of those big Separation Saturday games from around the Southwest. Stay with us.
You know, I think they played well, they executed well, and you know, our challenge is to improve our ability to do all those things. And then, you know, the other thing is, you know, we got 3 teams in a row that have devoted a lot of time and attention to the fact that they're playing us, and we have to be willing to step up and rise to that challenge.
Texas Tech coach Mike Leach and his team trying to get ready for a big game against TCU on Separation Saturday. Sonic Halftime Report, John Radigan, Pat Jones, Jackie Sherrill. And Leach knows that like SMU, like UTEP, for TCU, this is their Super Bowl. He's playing another team that's playing their Super Bowl. Pat Jones, why can TCU win this game?
Well, it'll be the largest crowd in Amon Carter Stadium, John, probably, and since they quit playing Arkansas and Texas. So the stage got bigger in that regard. And TCU, like Jackie said last week, TCU's speed can match up with Tech. It's got the makings of a heck of a ball game.
That said, though, how can Tech win this game? Why can they win this game?
Fellini and Johnson. I don't know if the defensive backs at TCU can keep those two guys from catching the football. I mean, they're really phenomenal.
It is Separation Saturday, and that is one of those games that matches 2 ranked teams. We'll talk about another one of those involving a Big 12 team. Oklahoma and Oregon, we get you set for that right after this. Welcome back to the Sonic Halftime Report, Separation Saturday. OU and Oregon tonight. OU's got a big defensive test.
Will OU show up defensively in a big way? They got to.
91st in rushing defense. Pat, how long has it been since OU's been 91st in anything?
Never in the history of mankind.
Wow.
It's historical tonight. It's historical Saturday. It's Separation Saturday, and we want you to enjoy the second half as Kansas State and Marshall will play 2 more quarters. It's 10-7. Enjoy the second half.
Welcome back to Bill Snyder Family Stadium in Manhattan, Kansas, on the campus of Kansas State University. The hometown Wildcats leading the Thundering Herd of Marshall 10-7 at the half. Bill Landry Reasons with you up top here. Exciting first half. I don't know if it's what we expected with 6 turnovers, but neither coach is real happy.
I don't think either coach is happy about the execution. When you put the ball on the ground, throw interceptions, have kicks blocked in the kicking game, those things are kind of going to make a coach upset. And I think in halftime, they probably talk to their teams about those things, and that's execution. So really, whichever team comes out here in the second half, Bill, I think is probably going to be the one that has a chance to win this football game.
Well, we'll take a look at the first half stats here today, and the defenses have dominated.
There's no doubt about it. The defense is really not giving up the yardage that you want in this ball game. But you look here where we've got marked in the 4 turnovers. Marshall for them, and Kansas State 2 turnovers there. And the points off the turnovers with Kansas State yielding 10 points. And you heard Ron Prince talk to Emily Jones at halftime simply that, you know, they're not happy about just getting that few points for that. And overall, it's been a good time of possession win here for Marshall in this football game. Kansas State has not necessarily had the football.
And you see the coaches coming back out as Coach Mark Snyder in his second year of Marshall, and his ball club trailing by 3. Our playmakers today, well, let's take a look, and you can figure that they've been involved in the defensive side or in the special teams category, as today Dylan Meyer, Ian Campbell, and on the other side Josh Johnson for Marshall certainly makes some things happen.
Well, obviously Dylan Meyer, I think he's done a pretty good job back there, but overall not really what you want as far as decision making a couple of times during the ball game. Ian Campbell obviously doing a good job defensively, making some plays, and it's going to be, I think, which team comes out here and executes best early on in this third quarter is probably going to have a chance now with Kansas State kicking with the wind. So Marshall will have an opportunity to move the ball with the wind here, against the wind starting out.
Parker boots it out of the end zone, and let's send it down to Emily Jones.
Guys, I talked to Mark Snyder on the way out of the locker room. He is equally as frustrated as Ron Prince, the Thundering Herd head coach, said we've got to stop turning the ball over. He was a little pleased with the fact that his offense is controlling the clock, but he said it does us no good if we continue to turn the ball over.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. You just got to put points on the board and move the ball down the field, and you can't turn it over and give them Kansas State continuing to give them good field position with opportunities, and really they've squandered them. So kind of at an even thing here, although K-State up 3 points in this ball game.
And watch out, we may have another one. Morris has the pass deflected and jumps high in the air to bring down the rebound.
Like getting your shot blocked in basketball, you throw it up there and it comes right back to you. It's a reject, and Morris goes up for it, as you said, Bill. Gets him a nice rebound. Didn't see him block out, though. Didn't have to. Nobody in his face. The ball's going to come right back to him. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go up and bring it down. Hey, quarterback should have knocked that away. He wouldn't have lost the 5 yards.
Seiler was the one that got a hand on it for K-State. As Marshall gets that pass deflected, and it's now a 2nd down and 15. They operate again into that stiff wind here in Manhattan. Morris finally has a little time, and he finds Cody Slate, freshman, before Brandon Archer tackles him at the 25.
You're kind of spreading the ball around here. You got 4 or 5 receivers out in the pattern. Slate, the backside tight end, block, and then come out in the route. Good job that time by the progression read there of the quarterback, Bernard Morris. And now it's a 3rd and 6. That's a manageable situation. You got something positive there on 2nd down and have a chance here to convert.
Third and 6 at the 24 now. And out of the shotgun is Morris. He got knocked around pretty good in the first half. He steps up into the pocket and then underthrows the intended receiver, Hiram Moore, and Ryan Baldwin was covering there.
And not a very good throw that time by the quarterback, Morris. He steps up in the pocket. I don't know if he got hit as he threw that football, but it was a full 3 or 4 yards short of Hiram Moore. Believe it or not, Hiram Moore was not across the 1st down line, so it'd be doubtful if he'd have made the catch. It'd have been a 1st down anyway.
Yards per punt. Take a look at that action with each team blocking one in the first half. Here is Ian O'Connor. Last year, he kicked a couple of field goals against Kansas State. Figures got around a couple. Flag thrown back at the punt, though, and Figures gang tackled and wrapped up at the 47-yard line, but it is coming back.
Well, I think it's going to be running into the kicker, and it's going to be probably the 5-yard variety here, and it's going to be just short, so it'll be 4th and short. It'll be a decision-making opportunity here for Mark Snyder, whether or not he's going to actually go for it on 4th down. So
running into the kicker, 43 on the defense. 5-yard penalty, repeat 4th down.
Now they're coming back to the line of scrimmage here. You see the pressure inside, and I actually think that both of these punters in the game are taking way too long to punt the football, and a little contact there underneath is what the penalty was, and looked like he may have actually been blocked into the punter.
Davion McGee is the culprit. Ron Prince not happy with the call and letting it be known.
Yeah, that's what he's telling me. He says our guys were blocked down and they were rolled into the punter. And
Mark Snyder, though, not risking it, or so would appear, on a 4th and 1. He sends again O'Connor back to kick, and he heard you, Gary. Got it away much quicker here. Not a spiral, but it takes a Marshall bounce, and it'll be down inside the 20-yard line. So he gets a nice boot out of that whole transition. And advantage Marshall.
Yeah, we really haven't been on this end of the field so much because the wind has been such a factor now inside the 20-yard line. With K-State coming out here, the fans are trying to get this team back into it, get them going. And Mark Snyder trying to find some answers in the locker room with his Thundering Herd coming out. Nothing happened for them offensively in their first series. So we'll take a look and see what Dylan Meyer and company can do coming out here for the Wildcats.
Meyer first half 6 of 12 for 69 yards. Leading rusher Clayton went 11 for 36. Petrie is a running back here, and again flags are thrown.
False start, 64 offense.
It's Nick
5
Stringer.
yards, 4th down.
Let's check in with John Radigan, a Dr. Pepper game break.
All right, Bill Land, thank you very much. Another update in that Cincinnati, Ohio State game. To Columbus we go, and it's Troy Smith to Ted Ginn Jr. again, right across the middle. He finds the seam, 20-7 Buckeyes. Smith, 17 of 24 for a...
Thank you, John. Right here, it is 10-7 K-State. Wildcats with the ball. And on a 1st and 15, Meyer under pressure throws it at the feet of the intended receiver. And a top 25 from the coaches poll, Ohio State at #1. And boy, there's some great battles going on around the country this weekend.
Well, and with Ohio State and Ted Ginn and Troy Smith at quarterback there, I think that's probably the best hookup in the country. And they're doing a good job of it, obviously, today. And they're obviously on top of the coaches' top 25 poll. Might be there for the entire season. They've got a pretty good go at it here.
K-State keeps it on the ground on a 2nd and 15. And Petrie is stopped at the 15-yard line. So it's 3rd and long now for the Wildcats of Ron Prince as Matt Couch makes the tackle for Marshall.
Well, everything that K-State has come out with here, Marshall has answered defensively, and that's good for them. Actually backing them up here. So 3rd and long situation with the wind at your back. I think Ron Prince really would like to utilize this wind to his advantage and get some first downs and move the ball, but nothing happening right now early in this drive.
Well, I haven't seen Jordy Nelson much since that opening drive when they took the block kick and went in to score. Meyer looking, got Nelson here at the 30, and he is hit hard, but he got the first down. Forward motion stopped at the 32.
Well, Bill, you ask for something, you get it. That's exactly what happened. Jordy Nelson, get him back into the picture, get him down the field, and he's one of these guys that you look at him, you say, hey, he's probably don't have great speed, but he really does have good speed. He's going to push the defensive back. Just an easy little curl route inside, gets enough for the first down, and good throw that time by Dylan Meyer. Inside shoulder, no defender around him. Gets a first down for Kansas State.
Nelson last year an honorable mention all-conference pick in the Big 12 with 45 receptions. Had 4 coming in here today. And it's a 1st and 10 at the 32. Meyer got all day this time, going along the other side, and Yaman figures. Another first down to move the chains at the 49-yard line. James Johnson covering on the play.
Part of the offensive system here is a West Coast style of offense. You're going to run downhill and you're going to do zone blocking. That's what they look at there. And he looks inside all the same, but the wide receiver on the outside, when you do your play action pass, he's able to run back and step to the outside. And good throw that time by Dylan Meyer, showing he's got enough arm strength to throw it all the way across the field.
1st and 10 at the 43.
Start 72 offense, 5 yards, first down.
John Hafferty commits the foul here. Ron Prince immediately makes the substitution.
Well, the receivers for Kansas State, they do have experience. Jamon Figurs, a senior, look at his production. Jermaine Morera over his career. And Jordy Nelson, these guys, they're all big play receivers. Jermaine Morera, we haven't heard a lot about him today, but he's a guy that really is kind of an X factor for them and does a lot of things potentially in this offense. And just a matter of distributing the football around in this West Coast style of offense.
Spexarth replaces the Hafferty who committed the personal foul, and now incomplete. Meyer knocked down on the play as El Amin was in hard for Marshall.
And he wanted Jordy Nelson on the outside. Jordy Nelson got a flat tire. He got to slip down there, and he just fell down. Just take a look at Jordy Nelson. He's going to cut to the inside and zoop. Yeah, that's the flat tire I'm talking about. The ball's going to bounce right there.
Jordy Nelson, a guy that was on the defensive side of the football when he originally came here and made the move to the offensive. And wow, did it work out. Now they're talking about being an NFL prospect. They come to Nelson here at the 40. Tries to shed a tackler. Knocked out of bounds at the 41-plus yard line. Dennis Thornton, the linebacker, making the stop.
Now, Jordy Nelson's got a little brace on his left knee. He's got a little bit of a problem there, so he's just got a little support, extra support there. And I think that's kind of hampering him just a little bit. Not the breakaway speed that we've seen before with him, but still a very effective receiver for him with wearing a brace in the left knee to give him a little help.
Junior out of Riley, Kansas, and last year he had 10 receptions for 20-plus yards. Talking about that speed game. 3rd down and 7 here. Morera, man in motion. Meyer comes to pick over the 2. The receiver on the other side, Marrera, he got it and goes out of bounds with a first down at the 37-yard line.
Well, we talked about the receivers in this game. Figures, Jordy Nelson, and now Marrera getting the ball into his hands. And you see what kind of explosive ability that Jermaine Marrera has when he gets the ball out there. Pressure on the quarterback here. Good job and good throw by Meyer. He gets a pretty good shot there in the backfield. Good pressure by Marshall there and hitting the quarterback, but he throws a good football outside to Marrera, who has a little excitement after the catch.
Tinker coming in on the play. Saw Keys making the tackle there. Tinker applying the pressure. 1st and 10 though. Meyer dumps it across the middle to Norwood. And Norwood will move the chains again. He takes it down to the 27-yard line where Matt Couch brings him down.
Well, when you play zone defense against this style of offense and you spread it horizontally across the field, kind of hard to cover it here, and you got your linebackers going to drop out. You watch your linebackers drop out here, and your tight end's going to work right in the middle of them, right there in front of the umpires. A good, easy throw and catch, that zone coverage. They've got to break downhill, read that quarterback a little bit quicker to make that play.
Meyer now over 100 yards in the day. 9 of 17 for 106. His long, a 25-yarder. That was to Nelson on that first pass of the day. 1st and 10 at the 27. Play action. Meyer got time. Receiver knocked out of bounds, and there'll be a flag thrown intended for Figures. James Johnson is the culprit.
For number 16,
Pass interference, number 8 on the defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah, J.J. Johnson getting called here for the play. Penalty against him. It's going to be a 10-yard variety here from the line of scrimmage.
Johnson, who's already had a recovered fumble and a blocked punt return for 17 yards and a touchdown. The negative play here. And 1st and goal to go. Well, I beg your pardon. I'm going to mark it at the 12. Just inside the 13-yard line. 1st and 10 with 10-11 to go, 3rd quarter.
Yeah, pretty good drive here by Kansas State, using a penalty there, but coming out of their end zone about the 18-yard line, starting this drive.
Petrie the back. Meyer calling the shots. K-State trying to add to a 10-7 lead. Flag thrown. Petrie stopped at around the 11.
Well, the hard count is working for Dylan Meyer. I can hear it all the way up here in the booth.
Offside, number 91 defense. 5 yards, first down.
Well, you're going to get Shavar Greer here at the top of the screen. Is going to be the one who's going to flinch a little bit early. Good hard count there by the quarterback. Gives him a free play if he wants it, and that's exactly what it is here. Runs it and hands it off. So 1st and 5 now inside the 10.
Yeah, yard line marked officially as the 7. At 1st and 5. Wilson goes wide left. Nelson left, Wilson right. Meyer got the tight end Mustard. Flag thrown as he reaches for the end zone. He's a little shy. Keys making the stop.
And the line judge throws a flag there from the far sideline.
Pass interference, number 88 on the offense. That's a 15-yard penalty, first down.
Wilson pushed off.
Well, Cedric Wilson, he's the outside receiver and didn't see what happened there because we threw it very quickly to the tight end. Cedric Wilson's going to be up here and watch him come inside. We'll see if he gets any kind of a push off there. He's just going inside, and actually the defender doesn't move out of his way. Now, I don't think that's a pick or anything like that. I just think that he's running his route and the defender doesn't yield his ground. Kind of a tough call to go against the Wildcats.
And it is a costly one as it sets him back to the 22-yard line, and it's a 1st and 20 now. Clock ticking at 9:30 in the 3rd. 3-point lead for KSU. Norwood. Motion, here's Petrie. Slips a tackler. And Petrie is brought down at the 17-yard line. Shavar Greer with the stop for the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Marshall coming in 1-1. K-State 2-0. Both having top 25s on the schedule next week. Louisville comes calling to K-State. It'll be a game seen on FSN. And the Thundering Herd goes off to Knoxville, and there's the Volunteers of Tennessee next week.
Yeah, Petrie in the backfield here for K-State. Don't know what's going on with Thomas Clayton, number 5. Started this ball game. He's on the sidelines here, and maybe it's just a coach's call of allowing Petrie to get some reps out there.
Timeout is called
Timeout, Kansas State.
by
First
the
charge,
Wildcats
timeout
of
of the half.
K-State. We'll take a break as well as Mark Snyder looks on. His club trailing 10-7 here in Manhattan. Kansas State with a 10-7 lead over the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Bill Land, Gary Reasons, Emily Reasons with you here on our Dr. Pepper Big 12 Game of the Week.
That was Emily Jones.
What did I say?
You said Emily Reasons.
Emily Reasons. Oh, Gary Reasons, Emily Jones. All right.
All right, Emily, we know.
Well, we'll keep it straight. All right, we've got a 2nd and 15, the ball on the 17-yard line.
I'd like to make one thing very clear. Gary Reasons and I are in no way related.
That's right. That's exactly right, Emily.
That's good for you.
My dad might be very upset if he heard that.
All right, let's see if K-State can find that end zone again. They come back to Nelson, and he dives down to the 5-yard line where Matthews makes the tackle.
A good read that time by the quarterback, Meyer. He looks downfield, trying to look vertical into the end zone. Nothing there, and comes downhill to Jordy Nelson. Zone coverage by Marshall, getting back and allowing coverage. You're going to see Jordy Nelson come down here and just kind of sit in the open zone. Good job of throwing it to him. Now it's a 3rd down and manageable situation here. 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 to go here for K-State.
Pick up 12, and it's in figures wide right. Nelson to the left. Running back again is Terry Petrie. He might have Butler County Junior College. Played a little bit last year. Meyer hammered as he throws it in the end zone looking for Nelson.
Now he had to throw that football. I'm not sure he was ready to throw it. He took a pretty good shot that time by C.J. Spillman, number 4. And we've got a Marshall player down in the end zone.
That is Matthews, freshman out of Greenwood, South Carolina.
Another field goal attempt here for Kansas State.
Snodgrass will come on. Hit earlier from 24 yards before the end of the half.
It's kind of a hot day out there, and I don't think I've seen any cramping. So a lot of these guys are probably pretty well hydrated, and they practice that. This is an opportunity for these guys. Temperature's supposed to get up in the low 90s, I believe, here today. A lot of wind out there, though, obviously from our right to left as we watch this ball game.
Marshall came in yesterday, got in here a little later than they expected, had to refuel in St. Louis, and had a brief workout here. Coach Snyder said his club worked out in suffocating heat this year at training camp before the season started. They lost to West Virginia, bounced back, beating Hofstra last week. Their first 2 games, they were down 14-0 in both of those. Obviously overcame it against Hofstra. And then here today, they give up a blocked punt, and K-State jumps out 7-0. It's currently 10-7, and Snodgrass trying to add to it. And it is good. 23-yarder, and Snodgrass is successful twice today. K-State leads at 13-7.
Welcome back to the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Game of the Week. Kansas State on top of Marshall by a score of 13-7. And joining me now is the new head coach of the Kansas State basketball program, Bob Huggins. Coach, how's it going here in Manhattan for you?
Going wonderful. Everything's beautiful. We couldn't ask for anything more.
Why is this such a good fit for you? I read somewhere where you said it was a lot like Cincinnati when you first went there. Just needed a little bit of work, had some good tradition there?
That's not exactly what I said. What I said was the basketball program, the tradition is a lot like Cincinnati was. Both of them were national powers, and then kind of in recent years have slipped off a little bit. Manhattan reminds me a little bit more of Morgantown, West Virginia, where I went to school.
That's what I meant to say, Coach.
I thought that's what it was. I was just trying to help you.
Absolutely, and I appreciate the help, most definitely. You've already got a first here at Kansas State, the first 7-3 player to sign with the Wildcats. You got that accomplished. Tell us a little bit about him.
He's big. Jason's one of those guys, and you know, when you're in my business, you're used to being around people big. And every time I walk up to Jason, the first thing goes through my mind is he's really big. I mean, he's not just 7'3", but he's 265 pounds, so he's a big guy.
We've also got a few guys coming back. Cartier Martin, I think 3 or 4 other more guys coming back. Should help you out. A nice mix of veterans and newcomers.
Yeah, the guys that were here have been terrific. They've really bought in. They've worked really hard. we're looking forward to having a good year.
Finally, what do you think about the football atmosphere here in Manhattan?
Isn't it terrific? I love it. I'm a huge college football fan, and this is terrific. I love it.
Well, it appears they love you here, too. I've seen billboards of you all over town. They seem to be welcoming you with open arms.
Isn't that awful?
It's got to happen to somebody, right?
Yeah, I guess they got to put somebody up there.
All right, Coach, best of luck this season. We appreciate your time, guys.
All right. Thank you, Emily.
That's going to be fun here in Kansas State to have Coach Huggins in the house.
He has made a stir on the recruiting trail, and there will be no signees announced, of course, officially until November, but he's gotten a commitment from one of the top players in the country, Beasley, that most feel will be lived up to, and he's well on his way to trying to rebuild things here.
7'3" guys, they are big guys. I'll have to agree to that.
Yep, nobody's going to argue with him on that. Well, K-State's defense been up to the challenge on the first play. Now it'll be setting up after Dials and Archer make the tackle here with a 3rd down and 7 situation for Marshall.
Well, what K-State's been able to do defensively is put consistent pressure on the quarterback, Bernard Morris. He has not had an easy day of throwing the football back there. Take Ian Campbell and company up front. That defensive front has put pressure on him all day, and interesting to see what Raheem Morris is going to do here on a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 situation.
From the 23, Morris out of the shotgun. And incomplete, intended for Bradshaw. You know, Ahmad Bradshaw has not been a factor.
Now they've taken him out here. Raheem Morris elects to go with a pressure situation here, bring people inside, and it's actually a good call against this blitz because it's a screenplay opportunity trying to get it out to Ahmad Bradshaw, and he would just have had to beat one linebacker. I think it was Dials on the outside trying to keep up with him. Going to bring on a 4th down in the punting situation here.
Bradshaw just 4 carries and 22 yards today. So it's a guy that would come in with 200. The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Game of the Week on FSN is brought to you by Johnsonville Brats. Welcome to heaven on a bun. Welcome to Johnsonville. By your local Suzuki motorcycle and ATV dealers. By Whataburger, just like you like it. And by Overstock.com. Search, shop, and save up to 70% at Overstock.com. Great look here at the indoor facility of Kansas State football as they've got it all here. The Wildcats lead at 13-7 after that punt that goes out of bounds into the wind. It is K-State ball, 1st and 10 on the 44 of Marshall. And they come right back to the tight end as the pass is complete to the 38-yard line, where Couch makes the tackle on Norwood.
Well, and the wind has been a big factor all day. Great field position now for Kansas State to get going, and you see Meyer here getting back to Norwood, the tight end. Spread those guys out across the field. You got 5 targets to throw to, and that's the easiest one to go right in front of you. And you see them a couple of times in there.
Second and 4. Meyer. Plenty of protection, and it's picked off by Marshall at the 18-yard line. The interception is made by the Thundering Herd, as coming up with it is Dennis Thornton. Thornton, who plays as a nickelback many times, 5'11", 215, a senior, gets the INT.
Well, I believe Dennis Thornton is right outside here, and he's going to come across inside and look to just go across the middle field and dive right for the football. Trying to work the ball up the seam is Dylan Meyer, but he throws it just a little bit short, and Dennis Thornton, who's a pretty athletic nickel linebacker for his Thundering Herd football team, gets a nice interception there to kind of turn things around here for his football team.
So turnovers, the 7th turnover of the day. Last night, Kansas had 5 in their overtime loss up at Toledo.
5 yards, 1st down.
And
well, that's the referee's call. He's watching them coming from the sideline, and there were more than 11 players there, and that's not really called very often, but it certainly is his prerogative. It's one of the things that offenses try to do. They kind of get into a big group on a change of possession, and it's kind of hard for defenses to adjust. What personnel grouping is going to be out there? Raheem Morris, on the defense coordinator for Kansas State, would certainly like to know the personnel group so he can get his defensive signal called. It's often difficult to do when they come off the sideline in a big bunch like that.
It's kind of the story of this game. A team creates a break or gets a turnover, and then immediately they put themselves in a bit of a hole. It's 1st and 15 now. The ball on the 14-yard line for Marshall. And Bradshaw finally getting a carry as Eric Childs makes the tackle. Bradshaw just his 5th carry of the day.
Well, they've got the ability to run the power I, and that's exactly what they're trying to do here. Get the big offensive line to make something happen, and he gets 5 yards back, so it's a 2nd and 10 situation now after the 5-yard penalty. But Marshall, they want to be physical up front. They also want to spread the ball around, throw it. They want to have a multiple style of offense. Larry Keck, the offensive coordinator, trying to work the ball around to a lot of different players in this offensive system.
Not easy throwing into that gusty wind, but 2nd and 10, you have to. And they come with a short pass, and Williams makes the tackle on the receiver. We'll take a Dr. Pepper game break. Let's check in with John Radigan.
All right, Bill, 54th meeting between Iowa State and Iowa has taken the lead. Watch the little dump pass, little 2-yarder. It goes from Drew Tate to Tom Bush, and Drew Tate is 25 of 35 for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. Iowa with the lead, Bill.
Eye on one there for the Cyclones and the Hawkeyes. Wynn's reception here, his first of the day, makes it a 3rd and 6 for Marshall. Morris steps up, fires. It is complete, but shy of the first down. Wynn again, the receiver, but Kansas State, I believe that was Garvin, who just was mano-a-mano, strong enough to keep him away from the first down.
Well, that was great coverage by Garvin right there on the receiver. The receiver didn't get to the first down yardage, and the tackle right after the catch is a great job of stopping this Marshall offense here. Kind of a wobbly snap there off to the side. A good job, number 6, making the tackle, trying to knock the ball away first, but a good lasso and pulls him around and stops him getting to that first down marker.
That'll bring on the kick folks. Ian O'Connor, the punter, and Yamon Figures, the deep man for K-State. O'Connor, good pressure there, and he gets off, and it rolls off the Marshall player, I believe, and a loose football, and Marshall's recovered it.
I believe Yamon Figures tried to pick that ball up, and it came out of his hands. Interesting to see who they're going to give the ball to here. No decision yet. Oh, there's an official on the field signaling that it is Kansas State's football.
I thought the ball hit the Marshall player. I'm not sure.
It bounced up to Yamon Figures. He tried to catch it.
Touched by the kicking team. Therefore, it's Kansas State's ball.
Well, he got in the way of that, and as a result,
yeah, if one of the kick coverage players, he touches them first. Watch on the outside here, the green jersey, the green pants. Does that ball touch him right there? Now, that's what the call was by the official. But Yamon Figures bounced up to him, and he did not handle it. Nonetheless, it's going to be K-State football.
Just clipped him on the way down. As a result, Kansas State gets the football, and it is 1st and 10 at the 32. Meyer to throw to Norwood. Across the 40 to the 41-yard line, and you can see how Norwood has become a valuable player here. Johnson and Couch make the tackle.
Well, that's what you call easy money. Norwood, big tight end, he's able to just get to the middle of those 2 linebackers. We showed it earlier in this ball game, how they just drop out in zone coverage, and 8-9-yard easy throw and catch there for Dylan Meyer to his big tight end.
Well, Norwood said, Coach says the tight end's always open, and he should always be open. He's got a bigger guy. He's always the bigger man on the play, and he's proven him right here today. Here is Meyer after faking to Clayton, and he's got Morera. First down as he is bumped out of bounds near the 30-yard line of the Thundering Herd.
Well, this is a decision by Dylan Meyer that he has the opportunity to actually run the football and get the first down or throw the football. He's got a blocker out front, going to be a bootleg here. And watch on the outside, he's got his tight end there. Took our fake, and all of a sudden we go right to the top. Look at the blocker there. He could have run for the first, but a great throw to Morera coming around to the second level, and that's a bigger play for your offense.
28 yards on the pickup. 1st and 10 at the 31 of Marshall with a 13-7 K-State lead. Clayton the back, and he got caught in traffic as they tried to throw it to him, and it falls incomplete. Greer putting the pressure on the quarterback, Dylan Meyer. First down line is brought to you by Overstock.com. Search, shop, and save up to 70% at Overstock.com.
Bilal El-Amin, the defensive tackle who started this ball game because Juan Underwood not able to play, did a good job on that play, just finding the running back, and that's why Meyer had to throw the ball at his feet.
2nd and 10. McCardle in along with Clayton in the running back position behind the quarterback Meyer. Try to give him some protection. He fires under pressure, and Norwood couldn't quite hang on. And it'll be 3rd down and 10 coming up for the Wildcats. Tinker, good pressure that time on the quarterback. 1:13 remaining in this third quarter with Kansas State leading by 6.
Well, one of the things that backs have to do, Bill, in this game is they've got to be able to block. And Thomas Clayton, number 5, their tailback here, watch what he does and steps up over here to the outside. He's got a defensive lineman coming, just got to chop him down. That's a good job blocking for him. And you got a tailback that goes out there and knows the system. You got a guy who you can depend on. It's a great job to keep your quarterback clean.
3rd and 10. Clayton alone back this time. Here's Meyer. Oh, Nelson was wide open and he overthrew him. When people talk about throwing into the wind, it's not easy throwing with the wind either, is it?
It is a little difficult too because you have to adjust. You got to take a little bit off of it. I think that's harder for quarterbacks to take it off of it. And I'm not sure that Jordy Nelson has the explosive speed that we've seen with him before. He's not really moving that well. He's getting around the defender, but still just not the same old Jordy Nelson that we've seen here before.
48-yard field goal attempt for Snodgrass. He's hit from 24 and 22 on a 4th and 10. He's hit from 52 this year, and he tacks on this long one. His 3rd field goal in a row, and the 3rd straight score by field goal for Kansas State. And it is now a 2-possession game, if you will, for Marshall. With 1:03 to go in the 3rd, it's K-State 16, Marshall 7.
Excellent kick here. A lot of leg. Just got to line this one up. The wind is at his back. I think that one's good, Bill, from about 60, 65. Look how far it goes up into the stands. Excellent job kicking the football. You know, one of the things you have to do as a kicker, you just don't over-kick in those situations. Just go out there and smooth your way through it and just line it up between the posts, and everything takes care of itself.
Well, the Wildcats have taken a Clayton 3-yard run and 3 Snodgrass field goals.
And he was 2 for 3 last week. A lot better production this week for Jeff Snodgrass. 3 of 3, perfect. And little Willie's having to do a few more push-ups over there.
How about the K-State defense that threw a shutout at last weekend against Florida Atlantic and bounced back today? The only points for Marshall have been on that blocked kick and return for a touchdown.
Well, coming into this ball game, they've only allowed, I think it's a dozen points or so, Bill, on the season. So kind of playing into that same kind of a mode here, not allowing points to be scored on the defense.
Now they had 24-23 was the score against Illinois State in their opener, a win. The shutout last week, and just 7 allowed here today, and another touchback, the 6th of the afternoon, as that wind aiding already strong kickers. And Marshall will get 1st and 10 from its own 20-yard line.
Now just under a minute to go now here in this 3rd quarter, so Marshall is going to turn this thing around. We're going to actually go to the other end of the field here before long with the wind at their back. So just be smart here on 1st down, and the clock actually starts, so they're going to run one play, and second play should, if they don't get a 1st down, second down should be with the wind at their back. I think Larry Keck, the offensive coordinator, is going to realize that here right after this snap.
41 seconds remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Morris throws it out to the wing, and Bradshaw making some tough yards before he is knocked out of bounds with 29 seconds remaining.
We're not going to get to the 2nd quarter here. We're still going to have to snap one here at the 25-second clock. This is why Bradshaw is a talented tailback and catches the ball out of the backfield real well. 50 receptions a year ago for his football team, and he's a dual threat type of an athlete back there, running the football and receiving out of the backfield. And he's the kind of guy that has got a future on Sundays, so somebody to look at here as you watch this Marshall football team.
2nd down and 5 at the 25-yard line. Bradshaw somehow breaks out of there, got the 1st down, and almost took it to the house. He is stopped at the 36-yard line by Byron Garvin.
Well, just get up there behind the big herd, the offensive line, and just kind of scoot through. Bradshaw just keeps working. That's the mark of a good tailback. And that is just keep those legs churning and squeeze through the little holes, and that's what he gets here for a 1st down. Looks like there's nothing there, but Bradshaw just keeps working. Actually, nobody in purple shirt trying to make a tackle at him on the line of scrimmage, and going to be the end of the 3rd quarter coming up.
Clock winds down, and that will do it for 3 quarters here at Bill Snyder Family Stadium in Manhattan, Kansas. The Kansas State Wildcats with a 16-7 lead. 3 field goals by Jeff Snodgrass, including a pair here in the third quarter. They lead it 16-7 over the Marshall Thundering Herd on our Dr. Pepper Big 12 Game of the Week. Welcome back. Our Yamaha game summary. Turnovers, turnovers, and more turnovers. Marshall with 4, and as a result, they trail 16-7, and their only score coming on a turnover. Glad to have you back with us here. The yardage is all K-State. It is Marshall with the football. 1st and 10, ball on the 36-yard line. And Bradshaw breaks it loose. I don't know what got into him after a very quiet first half and most of third quarter, but he rolls down to the 43-yard line of Kansas State, and that'll move the chains where Williams stops him after an 18-yard gain.
Good blocking here. He's got a big hole to run to, Bill, and that's what he does. And Bradshaw just gets into the second level of the defense, and nobody actually touches him until the safety comes over and makes the play. Good blocking up front there. And if you get Marshall going, you have a chance to throw the football with the play-action passing game that they have as well.
1st and 10 at the 43. Morris again out of the shotgun. And Bradshaw is hammered this time as Garvin combines as well as Campbell on the tackle. And it'll be a 2nd down and about 8 or 9. We're glad to have with us Tim Weiser, who is the athletic director here at Kansas State. Good to see you.
Thank you, Bill.
And boy, beautiful day. A little warm maybe, but better than the rain you've had in the last couple of games.
Well,
Gotta be
that's
excited,
right. And we've got that Kansas breeze blowing, so that helps a little bit too.
Player is down for Marshall. It does give us a moment here, Tim, to talk a little bit about the Ron Prince era and how things have gone for him here.
Well, you know, I think Ron's done an outstanding job in the transition. It certainly is difficult to follow somebody like Bill Snyder and the things that he's done for us, but I think Ron has come in and really transitioned very well, very nicely, and I know that obviously it's what happens out here on the field that ultimately will prove how Coach does, but to this point we're pleased.
And also you bring in the fold Bob Huggins as well. We talked to Emily talked to him. How's the the camaraderie with the whole new staff coming in, both basketball and now football?
Yeah, it's been interesting. You know, it's been a lot of change. I'm not sure that if I had my druthers, I wouldn't have liked to have spread those things out a little bit more. But in some respects, it's probably been good for us to do this all at once. And Bob, as you know, is certainly somebody that brings a lot of energy and a lot of excitement. We've got less than 800 tickets left before we reach a sellout situation on our season tickets, and so that's obviously something that is new to us, and we're looking forward to the season and all the things that will come from it.
You know, as again they attend to the injured player here, and that is Legursky, Doug Legursky of Marshall. We don't want to slight the injury situation. Hopefully he'll be all right, but they're certainly taking their time with him. You've also added on with, if people aren't familiar, there's a whole new look to your end zone here with new locker rooms, coaches' offices, and fill us in a little bit about that.
Well, this north end zone, the veneer project is what we refer to it. It's been about 2 years, I guess, in the process, but we did finally complete it. I think within about a day before our first game, we managed to get the seats in, and it's added, I think, a nice look for that end zone. We had, as you guys probably remember, a grassy area that we'd set up chairs on. It really didn't lend itself to the kind of atmosphere and class that we want to have with our facilities. So that's one of a number of improvements that we'll be involved in over the next few years as we try and continue to upgrade and stay ahead of the curve, so to speak.
Good to see Doug Legursky getting off the field there. Remington candidate for Marshall. And talking to Ron Prince, he's one of the most eloquent coaches I think I've seen, especially as a young coach, being able to articulate a lot of different things and a lot of new things for him coming from a coordinator position to be able to just transition into a head coach. How do you think he's transitioned into just doing all those little things that head coaches have to do outside of the football field?
Well, I think he's done a fabulous job there. And as you say, for a young guy that's in his first job, it's tough under the best of circumstances. But to come in on the heels of Bill Snyder, I think he's done a really good job.
2nd and 8 from the 41. And Morris keeps the football. Racked up hard, though, at the 37, maybe 38-yard line. Brandon Archer, the senior from St. Paul, Minnesota, makes the tackle for the Wildcats.
Yeah, and with change on with your football staff and your program, he's bringing in different offensive and defensive systems here. What do you think about the West Coast style of offense?
Well, I'm not really one that cares a whole lot about how it gets done as long as it gets done.
Just get it done.
That's right. So as long as it puts us on the top side of the scoreboard, I'm in favor of it. I think our kids enjoy it, and talking with them and watching them, I think they're excited with that kind of an offensive style.
We're visiting with Tim Weiser, the athletic director at Kansas State. The Wildcats lead at 16-7, but Marshall's put together a pretty good-looking drive. 3rd and 4 at the 38. 13-10 to go in the fourth quarter. They're in K-State territory. Morris. And it is incomplete, intended for Spann. And Baldwin was covering. You know, I saw something I'd never seen here before today, and that was Bill Snyder smiling during the game. I saw him at halftime. Oh, you must be retired. And he seems like he's adjusted well.
You know, I think he's done a nice job. Obviously, when you put your heart and soul into something as long as he did, I think we were all concerned about how he was going to be able to make that transition. But as you said, I've seen an awful lot of smiles from Bill, and I think he's enjoying life.
He's certainly done a whale of a job here, and well-deserved that retirement. Morera is the deep guy on the punt as O'Connor tries to pooch it. He didn't have much success before, and this one he does. It goes out of bounds. We'll see where they mark it. Tim, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
My pleasure, guys. Good to have you.
Thanks, Tim.
Stay with us. You're watching the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Game of the Week on FSN. It's K-State 16-7 on top. K-State leads it here 16-7. Next week, College Football Saturday returns with a triple header, beginning with a College Football Saturday kickoff show presented by Kyocera. The number 12 Louisville comes here to face these K-State Wildcats in high def. And then number 23 Arizona State battles number 21 Cal. A Pac-10 special followed by South Florida and Kansas in Lawrence. It all begins Saturday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, only on FSN. There's Dylan Meyer's numbers today. 187, no touchdowns, 1 INT, as K-State leading at 16-7. 1st and 10 from its own 16-yard line following the punt by Marshall. Meyer going into the wind, incomplete. And there's a flag, as no question that Mastrud was held on that play. Let's send it down to Emily Jones.
Well, guys, they looked at Doug Legursky's right ankle, took the tape job off, and are redoing it. A good sign that he's headed back into the game. And an interesting note about him, he is one of 2 junior captains on this Thundering Herd squad. Head coach Mark Snyder said it's the first time in his entire coaching career that he's had juniors serve as captains, but he knew when he opened it up to his squad that Doug Legursky would be one of those guys.
Yeah, speaks well for the leadership of the younger guys and the respect that the older guys from the other regimes still have for those players.
Yeah, he said in hindsight, he said he wished he'd done it last year because he felt like there were some other players that really have the respect of their teammates, and wherever that respect comes from, you want those guys to be leaders out there.
And again, age and class doesn't seem to be the key factor. 1st and 10, ball on the 23. And Clayton runs hard. Gets to the 26, and we'll take a moment to check in on a Dr. Pepper game break with John Redigan.
Bill Land, thank you very much. Arkansas and Vanderbilt were late in the 3rd quarter when Mitch Mustaine finds Ben Cleveland down the middle. It is a touchdown. Mustaine 12 of 17 for 209 and 3 touchdowns. 21-19 Arkansas right now.
One of the Piggy fans were very excited when Mustaine committed there, and certainly a rough opener against Southern Cal, but youngster being broken in right now. Here it's the veteran Meyer, who missed last year due to injury. He's got his club 2nd and 7, the ball on the 26. And Clayton wrapping up hard as he gets nothing. Stopped at the 25 by Couch.
Yeah, just did not win at the line of scrimmage on that play. K-State trying to do a little misdirection, pulling a guard, but they've got to stop the penetration and the attack now of the defensive tackles for Marshall. They're trying to put a little pressure on inside here, stopping that run game or slowing it down. Although most of the offense in this ball game has been put up there by Kansas State. Marshall's defense now trying to do something here to turn this thing around. They need to get the ball back in their offense's hand a couple of times now, down 2 scores.
Yeah, the yardage 256 to 150. K-State. Meyer on 3rd and 8. He delivers. Norwood, let's see where they mark his forward progress. I think he'll have enough to move the chains as Brandon Souter made the tackle.
Finding that big tight end again in the middle of the field, and that's what you got to do in this offense. You know, the spread offense is what happens. You got one up here, one here, and here, and then you bring one to the middle of the field and get it right to your tight end, right between the linebackers, and he got enough for the 1st down. Kansas State going to continue this drive going into the wind. Rashad Norwood showing that he can catch the football, the leading receiver for this football team coming into this game, and he's got 3 or 4 today, Bill.
Yeah, make it 5. That's his 5th for 50 yards. Jordy Nelson has 4 for 62. He has the most yardage. And it's 1st and 10 at the 34. This one underthrown to Nelson as Meyer got hit hard. Greer in his face.
And Shavar Greer here on the outside defensive end. And these guys can really get around the edge and does a good job this time coming underneath, popping Dylan Meyer right between the numbers. Shavar Greer's been a pretty good force for him coming in this ball game. He had a sack, forced fumble, a couple hurries, fumble recovery, so he's been around the football and doing a little bit of that here.
2nd and 10 at the 34. We're in the 4th quarter. Kansas State leading 16-7. Chewing up clock and yardage. Clayton rolls forward to near the 40, a little shy of that. Thomas Clayton, a senior out of Alexandria, Virginia, missed the first game due to a suspension, had 89 yards rushing last week. Now last year, he came along and led him with 637 yards and scored 4 touchdowns. Third down and 5.
I think this is an important play here down for Marshall. I think defensively they need to find an answer here to slow K-State down, force them to punt this football. They need the ball back in a hurry.
And K-State's starting to get in some rhythm. This one incomplete, intended for Morera across the middle, and Couch was covering.
Seen a lot of crossing routes in this offense today from the wide receivers, the tight ends, and just trying to wait till those guys to come open. And that's just something that Meyer's going to have to feel as he learns this offense. Just kind of have patience to wait till he gets the open area instead of trying to just fit that ball in there. Sometimes it's a little difficult to do, and you see him talking to Ron Prince, or the offensive coordinator there, James Franklin, about that situation.
The punt and a flag is thrown. And Span is tackled by Watts. As again, he makes the key play. Let's see what the flag is all about, though.
If it's offside,
53-yard punt if it stands with no return.
Well, the line judge throws it. It's going to be an illegal shift against the punt team. Marshall may elect to take the ball right here, or they could push them back another 5 yards. And I think they really should have them having them punt into the wind.
Illegal shift on the offense. More than one man in motion at the snap. 5 yards, 4th down.
Well, so force this punter to punt into the wind. Has had one punt blocked today already. Now I'm sure they're trying to set up either to go after this punt once again, get a big play in the punt with a punt block, or perhaps another or a punt return, set up great field position.
Yeah, Marshall, it's a 2-score situation for them, and their offense hasn't put one on the board yet. So I would think they got to come after him again. With the wind or not, they have shown little ability to move it on a consistent basis today, even though the time of possession has been in their favor by about 8+ minutes. Ron Prince having a discussion.
I think they're trying to figure out the spot of the football here. Looks like they may not have spotted the ball correctly. Previous play, a line of scrimmage, I believe, was it the 34-yard line, Bill? 39-yard line, rather?
Yeah, 34. Sorry, it was a 40-yard line prior. Well, they've certainly consulted with enough people. Let's go ahead and make a decision and move on it.
Yeah, they're going to spot the ball here. 5-yard penalty is all it was from the spot. So initially they were lined up to the 30, 35-yard line. Ron Prince got that squared away. So just a 5-yard penalty on the illegal shift.
Head coach Winsway.
Well, head coach shouldn't have to make that call, and that's his point.
You're right, and very upset. 4th down and 10. They come after the punter Rayer. High kicked and fair catch. Span brings it down near the 33, and another flag.
Well, guess what? Running into the punter this time, it's going to be a 5-yard penalty. Interesting now, this is a situation where Ron Prince could refuse this penalty. It's not going to be a first down. He may take the result of the play and just take the punt. They're conversing with him on the sideline there in the 40-yard line, and really similar result of what the previous punt was, or in that same area. I think it might have been just inside the 30-yard line when they had that first punt.
but do you want to risk?
I think he takes the ball down there. I think it's a good call to let the play stand.
And get
running into the kicker, 29 on the defense. Penalty is declined, first down.
Now, knowing that he's had one punt block today, why would you go ahead and risk another opportunity for them to make a big play?
And particularly as tough as his defense has been, not giving up anything point-wise on the board. We'll be right back here in Manhattan. 16-7, Kansas State the leader here in our Dr. Pepper game of the week. Bill Land, Gary Reasons, Emily Jones with it. 1st and 10, ball on the 33-yard line as Marshall will take possession. Let's check our keys to the game again.
Well, I think they had to have a quick start. They had the punt blocked in the first quarter, and the relentless pursuit on the defense. Been there okay, but K-State's had some pretty good opportunities in special teams magic. Really, the punt block and the 28 yards per punt. So things not perfect for Marshall in this ball game, but they've done some good things.
We'll check out K-State's side here in a moment. Bernard Morris, incomplete, right through the hands of Emmanuel Spann, their leading receiver coming in, the sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia, covered by junior Justin McKinney. Now update the keys for Kansas State.
Well, Kansas State, I think they need to be more aggressive up front blocking. 3.6 yards per rush. You'd like to get that up over the 4, maybe to 5 yards per run, but really they'll take what they've got so far today. Load the box. They've shut down the running game, I think, of the dual threat quarterback, and I think they've done a good job, Kansas State has on that. And their special teams, the one block punt, the things they've done in the kick return game, I think have been pretty good today for Kansas State.
Here's Marshall now with a 2nd and 10 at the 33 for Bernard Morris. Morris 15 of 24 in the air for 87 yards. And hands this one off. Bradshaw in big time trouble, and look at them pursue the football.
Well, relentless pursuit, and that's exactly what that was. You got Zach Dials making first contact in the backfield on the draw play here to Ahmad Bradshaw. He cannot get around the corner. Watch number 52 come into your picture here and make a play in the backfield. He gets first contact. Then Ian Campbell, defensive end, can he run? You bet he can. He gets outside, makes a nice play on the perimeter. You've got speed on this KSU defense, and I think that's going to be one of the things that when they look at this film, the aggressiveness and how fast they play defensively is going to be a mark for Raheem Morris and this defensive system.
3rd down and 15 now. Clock moving, 8:09, 8:08 remaining in the football game. 9-point lead for the Wildcats. Morris is sacked back on the 19-yard line as Zach Dials comes through, the senior out of California. And the Wildcat defense answers one more time.
Well, they call him a middle linebacker, and guess what? He lines up in the middle, so Zach Dials is going to come right here, and nobody's going to touch him. Back does not make a very good effort to pick him up. I don't know if that's Bradshaw or not. Couldn't see his number, but a great play there by Zach Dials with the sack, and they're playing with aggressiveness, with speed and enthusiasm. That's what you want with your defense.
-9 on the play. It's 4th down and 23 officially from the 20, and flags will stop this. That punt was going to go to the end zone almost. Wow.
That ball went to the 6-yard line.
O'Connor, the ball rolls dead at the 3. It ain't going to matter, but we're still amazed by it.
That was a 74-yard punt
Kansas
in the air.
State called timeout before the snap. Please reset the game clock to 7:32.
Oh, and Mark Snyder's expression telling it all, like, you got to be kidding me. Not going their direction so far, but still 7:29 to go with Kansas State leading 16-7. The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Game of the Week on FSN is presented by Dr. Pepper. 23 flavors that add up to one bold taste. Dr. Pepper, there's more to it. By Sport Clips, where guys win. By Sonic, it's not just good, it's Sonic good. And by Valero, the energy to take you anywhere. Well, they'll try that punt again as Ian O'Connor goes back for Marshall. He's standing. He kicks it from his 10. The last one went dead on the 4-yard line, but there will be a return by Morera. The 25, 30. And he goes down at the 34-yard line. Jermaine Morera. And that's where they'll take over. These coaches today present an interesting story, both relatively new. Ron Prince, first year And you say, where did they get their philosophy, Gary? Well, he coached under Al Groh, number 3 on the list, but that all comes from Bill Parcells and Tom Coughlin.
Yeah, he's got a great tree here. I actually played for Al Groh. He was our defensive coordinator, linebacker coach of the Giants when I was there, and actually has been a great mentor, I think, to Ron Prince at Virginia. Bill Parcells, obviously, all these guys he's worked with, he's understood, he learns from, and that's kind of what his background is. That's what his philosophy is. So he's a tough approach. He's a lot like a Bill Parcells, and he's a great communicator. I think that's one of the strengths that Al Groh has. He's a great communicator, and I think that's going to be something that people are going to talk about the Kansas State program for a long time, is that here's a young guy who's a guy who communicates, he works real well with the players, and being able to communicate with them is the most important job of a head football coach.
Well, K-State, you think, are they a little conservative because they're up 16-7 and 6:47 to go? They come out firing, and it's complete to the tight end as Josh Johnson makes the tackle.
And here's an impressive second-year head coach. His background comes from Ohio State, and guess what? Woody Hayes, well, he's had an impression on all these guys. Mark Snyder actually coached under Jim Tressel, who, all these guys have worked up the tree from Woody Hayes. So that fire, that background, that discipline that Ohio State really had, I think is kind of the basis for Mark Snyder and what he's getting done at Marshall.
Yeah, he had a couple of national championships, Youngstown State and under Tressel, and of course at Ohio State with him. Morera, I beg your pardon, called that last ball for K-State.
Offense, 5 yards, 3rd down.
Pushes it back.
Talking more about it, what Ron Prince has had to go through here at this university is kind of like what Al Groh did following George Welsh at the University of Virginia. George Welsh, a longtime coach there. And how do you follow a guy like that? Well, Al Groh did that, and I think Ron Prince watched how he transitioned. Here at Kansas State, has to follow a real legend in Bill Snyder, and he's done a great job of transitioning away from Bill Snyder. He's really included Bill in things, and he's not excluding him in anything, because he said, hey, he's got a formula for success. He invented it. He did it, so we're open to that information. So he's doing it the right way coming here to Kansas State.
Still claim the finest turnaround in the history of college football is what he did here. Consistently win as he did. Well, that'll move the chains. They come back to Jordy Nelson, and he does get it by about a yard as he stopped at the 45. Matt Couch and Curtis Keys, the tacklers for Marshall.
And here's a situation where the play's going to go, and you're going to get a first down. The clock is going to start. He goes out of bounds, and things just happen like that. But with the timing rules now in college football, the team that is a little bit behind here, you're down 2 scores, it really plays to your disadvantage, because the clock, if you do get the ball back and you score, you're going to have a change of possession situation to where the clock is going to start. And that's where I think some of the coaches are differing on whether they like or don't like the new timing rules that are in effect in college football.
I'm sure it'll be tweaked one way or another when the season's over. But Meyer fumbled the snap and quickly fell on top of it, and a flag here as well. Keys.
After the play, personal foul, 25 on the defense. 15 yards, first down.
We watched that Kansas game last night when they played Toledo, and his younger brother, Kerry Meyer, had a fumble late in the ball game with a chance to win the ball game. And boy, I tell you, it's kind of reminiscent. I'm sure the Meyer family watch us. Don't let this one get away from you. Don't put it on the ground.
Well, you saw Keys. He realized he screwed up, and then he immediately checks the Meyer. But what that's done.
Yeah, but that's a mistake from the quarterback center position. You cannot put the ball on the ground. You have a chance to win a football game. You want to secure the football. It's the most important thing you have to do. Kerry had a tough time with it a couple times last night, and here Dylan puts one on the ground. Luckily for him that he got the football back.
1st and 10 at the 42. 5:19 to go. Kansas State leading at 16-7. Meyer. Around on that play. Keys and Greer made sure he had nowhere to go.
Now the most important thing there is let the clock keep running. You don't make a negative play. Don't get yourself in trouble. Don't throw the ball into a crowd. Those are all the things that you talk to with a quarterback when you're trying to close out a ball game here. And that's last year with Kansas State, they didn't finish ball games. They had a chance to be better with I think 4 or 5 ball games. They lost within a total of 9 points. So all that could go one way or the other. Depends on how you finish and how you do certain little things. And this is one of those times where you like to get first downs, run the clock, and perhaps try to win this ball game with your offense on the field.
They were 5-6 a year ago. Meyer overthrows his man as incompletion to Raymer. And that'll make it 3rd down and 12 now. First Down Line brought to you by Overstock.com. Whether you order a big screen TV or a comfy chair, it's all going to ship for $2.95. Shop and save at Overstock.com.
Yeah, and with the overthrow, the clock does stop. So it brings up 3rd and long here now. I'd be surprised if they try to throw this ball.
Marshall does have all 3 of its timeouts remaining. K-State with just 1. Marrera goes in motion. Meyer completes it to Marrera. 30, 25, gets a tackle, still on his feet, he scores!
Well, we mentioned Marrera earlier in this ball game about being kind of an explosive player with the ball in his hands, and all he does is catch it outside, and he breaks 1 tackle, then takes it to the house. Unfortunate for him, though, that there's going to be a penalty here. It's going to be a celebration penalty as Marrera brings it into the end zone. But watch on the outside. You're going to have the missed tackle out there. You got to make a good sure tackle, and he goes right by on Marrera with enough speed to elude 1 other tackler, and the 3rd tackler gets into the end zone. And that is a penalty here in college football. You can't celebrate going across the goal line. Still a huge play here for the offense.
Number 10 of the offense. The penalty will enforce 15 yards on the kickoff.
After the play, that was during the play.
Well, that's when they enforce it.
Scores should not be a part of it. I'm sorry, Gary. You got to let him have a little bit of fun here. He wasn't mocking anybody. And it ain't going to matter in the context of this game, though. And Marshall, I mean, they haven't scored an offensive touchdown all day. They're down 22-7. K-State going to go for 2 here, looks like.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to do the math here and figure out, okay, get the 2 extra points up there and make it a 3-score game.
44 yards on the play.
Offense breaking the sideline 12 players. 5-yard penalty.
Now the referee's been consistent on that. He's called it on both teams now, so he's watching that sideline huddle pretty closely. Now K-State's electing to go for the PAT when they back that ball up. Snodgrass is on to try this, Bill.
A little bit longer. They'll set up 15-yard line, like a 25-yard field goal. Straight on, though. Snodgrass, who earlier hit 3 field goals. Another flag is thrown here as this one has really gotten sloppy.
Well, now they're going to back him up 10 yards. If they're going to have to attempt this extra point, it's going to be like a longer field goal situation. And
holding offensive right end. 10-yard penalty, retry.
Now they're going to bring it back here. And then kicking into this wind is not an easy chore. So the line of scrimmage is going to be, what, the 17-yard line, 18-yard line?
And it's a 15-point game, so this is still an important play. It would take 2 8-point scores just to tie them. So it's not to diminish the situation here. This is an important kick for Kansas State. Still have 4:15 remaining, and even though Marshall hasn't shown the ability to move the football, the way these games have gone with these two teams, they've had wild finishes each year. Don't go away yet. Watts is holding. Kick is long enough, and it is good. All right, we'll be back after this word from Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottlers. Emily taking the place of Willie the Wildcat. Get after it with those push-ups.
22 of them, 23. 5, 6, 7. I gotta go first. 8, 7, 8.
K-State fans love it on a windy, sunny Saturday afternoon with the Wildcats leading at 23-7 on our Dr. Pepper game of the week.
You know, we talked about this game, Bill, about being a measuring stick, I think, for both teams, and Kansas State coming out probably going to get the better end of that. They've done pretty well on offense. The turnovers in this ball game really been kind of shooting both teams in the foot, and the big plays in the kicking game, the block punts have been key also. So not a typical game where you just kind of punt the ball back and forth. Things have kind of changed, and points off of turnovers, little things you do with penalties and all those kinds of things. K-State has just been on the upper end of that today.
Parker kicking it off, and the grounder is finally recovered at about the 45-yard line. That's where they'll take possession. Whataburger, what a play, and what a play it is. Let's take a look at it here today. Morera on the 44-yard touchdown.
Just good speed, and he eludes the tacklers and does a good job of running. Bill likes the end of the play. He likes the dive.
Well, I'm all for acting like you've been there before, but I just got a personal opinion that you get into the end zone fine. Now, the moment you're in the end zone and you've scored, then all right. But he didn't mock anybody. He didn't go and taunt anyone.
Instead of running, he decided to jump for the last 3 yards.
Yeah, some folks have lost their sense of humor. It is a game. Come on now, have a little fun. The coaches will control any behavior that gets out of line. Believe me, these two coaches here will. Morris wraps up Bradshaw on the pass, and then he is stopped at the 49 of Kansas State.
Yeah, stopped by Brandon Archer. Really haven't talked a lot about him, but I think collectively this whole defense for Kansas State and what they have done against this Marshall offense has really been the story here. Shutout last week in that football game against Florida Atlantic, and they have not had an offensive touchdown today. Marshall has not. The only points they have on the board have come off a blocked punt return, so still a defensive shutout in the works here for Kansas State for the second week in a row.
Morris, this one is incomplete to Cody Slade, who couldn't find a handle. Yeah, you got Bradshaw, who's only run for 55 yards. Morris is in the minus category because of all of the sacks. So that 1-2 running threat has been shut down. And Morris has had some nice passes, but nothing that's really been a killer.
You know, I think it's kind of a team here. We talked about this measuring up, and I think this Marshall offense, they've showed some good things against West Virginia, and then last week against Hofstra, which is really a top-tier 1AA program. I think they felt like they had a chance to come in and execute a little bit better. They did not execute as well as they would like to have it, but you got to credit the KSU defense because they have played spirited, fast, and very aggressive coming into this ballgame. They led the nation in tackles for loss, and I think they're going to be right up there again because they've had pretty good pressure all day today.
They've only given up 150 yards until that play, and that may be a little live ball. No, they're going to say he dropped it, did not have possession.
No, we haven't anything reviewed today, but this might be a reviewable play, whether or not whether he had control of this football coming across the middle of the field. And let's take a look at it here.
And Ron Prince just looked up, and he saw a replay on the big screen here at Bill Snyder Family Stadium.
Now this, I can't see from that angle. Maybe if we've got the reverse angle, we can look at it, but the tight end looks like he's coming across there and does not have control of it initially.
Looks like he was bobbling most of the way, so nobody holding up play here. 3:01 to go. 23-7. 4th and 5, and this one is incomplete.
Well, you can't fault the quarterback there. He does a good job, Bernard Morris, of finding the open receiver. Slate, ball probably a little bit behind him, but this is a catchable ball on a first down for Marshall if he catches that football. This is one that should be going the other way here with Marshall continuing, but he drops the football.
Let's check in with John Radigan in a Dr. Pepper game break.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. Some excitement between BYU and BC. This is Jared McLaughlin with a chance to make a 51-yarder to win it. He made a career-best 50-yarder earlier in the game, but hooked that one. They're playing in overtime. Number 23, BC on the ropes.
Thank you, John. This one just about sealed here as Kansas State gets it back on downs. 1st and 10 from the 49. And they hand off to Clayton. And the word will be stay in bounds at this point. Marshall still has 3 timeouts remaining. They are in dire straits, though. Matthews making the tackle here.
Stay in bounds, protect that football, and this is a growing process really for this whole football team, and particularly on offense, where you've got a new offensive system here. Style of offense. Dylan Meyer, the senior quarterback, I think this really fits his style of play well. He's got great receivers on the outside with Figures, Morera, and Jordy Nelson, those 3 trio of receivers. And then you add the tight ends into the mix, which Ron Prince has really made an effort to get that going, and they certainly have with Norwood today. Made half a dozen catches or so today in this ball game. So overall, they're spreading the ball around on offense, and that's what you want to do with your West Coast style of offense.
329 yards of offense total today for Kansas State. Clayton will add to it as he rolls to the 41-yard line of the herd. J.J. Johnson, the tackler for Marshall. So Marshall is going to get a whole lot easier. You open with West Virginia, a series that they've been trying to develop for years, and one that in-state deal. And West Virginia's about as good as they've been in a long, long time. And then last week they had Hofstra. They came back and outscored them 54-31 here today, and now Knoxville, Tennessee in the Vols next week.
Yeah, they've got a tough road to go. They got to go out to play the Vols out there, and that's not going to be an easy contest. And you take a look at what K-State has in the very near future next weekend. Louisville comes in here from Conference USA, and they're a top 25 team. He put his knee down at the 38-yard line. But both teams came into this football game, Bill, thinking this is an opportunity to get a win. Really, both teams felt like they had a chance to win this game. And take a look here what's going on for Kansas State. The Louisville ball game, number 12 coming in. We're going to see that on our air tomorrow, next Saturday.
Yeah, and you take a look that Kansas State, they haven't been great at times today, but they've shown some things that you mentioned. So they go 3-0, then they open Big 12 play at Baylor. They got Oklahoma State coming here. They have an opportunity to be in pretty good shape by the time they go against Nebraska.
Now, these teams all have the 12-game schedule now, trying to get to 6 wins.
Clayton, he breaks the tackle and is brought down from behind, but not until he gets to the 18-yard line, make it the 19, and Matthews and Keys save him from getting 6.
And that could have been the last play of the game, but they stopped it there on the moving the chains on the first down. But they'll start it here and wind the clock. 26 seconds to go in this ball game. And they have to snap it one more time. I don't know how it syncs up with the play clock.
Clayton gets 18 yards on the carry, and as a result, 18 carries for 76 yards today. He got a lot of them here on this final drive. He scored a touchdown as well, the first one of the day. Herrera also had one. They took 3 field goals from Snodgrass and did not allow Marshall a touchdown today on the offensive end. Well, Ron, a little skirmish here that they break up, and Ron Prince goes to 3-0 and puts him in company with very few others that have made that here at K-State.
Well, it's been a good start here for Ron Prince, but now he knows he's got his work cut out for him and his football team coming up next weekend, and then on into Big 12 conference play. And as he sees Ahmad Bradshaw on the field and talked to him and recruited him to Virginia, did not wind up going there, goes to Marshall, so good chance for those two guys to meet out on the field.
And it is a 23-7 win for the Kansas State Wildcats as Meyer and crew got it done today on a turnover-filled day, but the end result, their defense was stout, and they took control of the game in the second half. Let's go down to Emily Jones with Coach Prince.
Coach, it was still a game of turnovers in the second half. You guys made the most of them, though.
Couldn't give enough credit to our defense. Not real proud of anything else that happened.
You gave up no points on defense for the second week in a row. Can you just talk a little bit more about their performance? Only gave up 150 yards of total offense.
Well, they're trying to play with a collective mentality. They're being very well coached. And I just think from top to bottom, the kids have bought into what we're doing, and I couldn't be prouder of them.
Next week will be tough against Louisville. What do you tell your offense, and what adjustments do you make here in this next week?
All games are hard. They're hard to win every week. It doesn't matter who it's against.
Can you talk about the offense and the adjustments that you need to make in order to be successful next week?
Yeah, we're not going to try to. We have a plan to not turn the ball over, to play well. These penalties and things that are happening aren't acceptable.
Okay, Coach, thanks so much. Ron Prince starting off 3-0 here at Kansas State. Guys, back up to you.
All right, thank you, Emily. 3-0, and
he's got to be happy. He needs to be a little more enthusiastic.
At least enjoy the ride home, Coach, and then worry about the next one.
It's from a tree of tough coaches who knows what he's doing.
What, they are demanding, and that's why they're successful. Kansas State with a win here today, 23-7, to go 3-0, and Marshall drops to 1-2. And time for our defensive player of the game, brought to you by Cooper Tires, and it goes to Ian Campbell. Boy, he has really made an impact.
Yeah, just kind of a slight guy, 240 pounds as a defensive end, but made some plays in the backfield. Defensive end doing a good job of pressuring the quarterback all day and kind of leading the charge out there along with Brandon Archer on defense.
All right, we're going to send it off to our studio at FSN with John Radigan and a couple of coaches that I'm sure are grinning because they're always right now. Jackie Sherrill, Pat Jones. Let's send it to our QSR College Football Kickoff Show. That'll be coming up next Saturday, and we'll send it to the studio though right now.
All right, as the Wildcats leave in unison, we now welcome you in to the FSN studios, and we are here to wrap up this game and get you caught up on what else is happening around college football today. John Radigan, Pat Jones, Jackie Sherrill here. You guys were chuckling about it. Ron Prince, I believe right now Emily Jones is standing by.
Guys, thank you. Here with Kansas State middle linebacker Zach Dial. I guess, first of all, congratulations on the win. How does it feel to be 3-0?
It feels great. You know, we got to go back next week and get better, get ready for Louisville coming in now. So it feels good being 3-0, but we got a tough test coming up next week.
This was a game of turnovers, but defensively you guys stood strong. No points given up for the second week in a row.
Yeah, you know, Marshall had a good offense. They had 2 good players, a running back and a quarterback. You know, coming into the game plan this week, that was our game plan, was to stop them. And, you know, if we stopped them, that's pretty much the basis of the offense. So that's our game plan coming into the week.
Talk about the challenge you face now next week with Louisville coming in.
Louisville's a great team. You know, they got, I believe, Miami today, and the last couple of weeks Mike Bushman down, but they got a lot of great running backs coming up. A quarterback, Brian Braum, that's going to, you know, cause problems, but well, not cause problems, but, you know, we got to come in game plan ready for them. So.
Okay, congratulations on the win. Best of luck next week.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys, we'll kick it back to you now in the studio. That's going to do it for us here in Manhattan. Kansas State now 3-0 on the young season.
They are indeed, Emily, and what a defensive performance it was today. Coach Jones mentioned a few minutes ago, 136 yards of total offense, just 54 yards rushing. The linebacking crew did a pretty good job keeping them from being able to rush the football.
Yeah, impressive thing to me, they're not real big across the front, but they can run and they create some turnovers. Their pass rushers appear to be really solid players, and again, their team speed is very good, and they'll hit you. They'll run and hit you.
Will Coach let the kids smile? Do you think, Jackie?
Oh, the kids are smiling.
Okay.
I mean, let me tell you something. Kansas State not winning that many games last year, and right now being 3-0, those kids are smiling. Regardless of what Ron is saying, those kids are smiling because they played well today.
They did indeed. They got their victory over Marshall, 23-7. 3-0 are they now on the young season, and it's time for us to take a break. We're coming back, though, to the FSN studios. We will get you set for some of the other games happening today and show you some that already have. There's been some excitement in college football on Separation Saturday.